From Cesar Wasaka Stadium here on the campus of UC Santa Barbara, this is UCSB Baseball. Today, Game 2 of this three-game Big West Conference Series between the Gauchos and the Cal Poly Mustangs in a renewal of the blue-green rivalry here on a beautiful day for baseball. Hello, everyone. I'm Jerry Fall, along with my friend and former Gaucho head coach Bob Bronsema, welcoming you to today's second game of this three-game set. And Bob, yesterday it was just from beginning to end, it was a forgettable day for the Gauchos as the Mustangs put pressure on early, 2 runs in the second inning, and then they opened it up with 5 in the fourth off of Noah Davis, and it was just really a tough day for the Gauchos, who lost 11-2.
Well, Cal Poly did a lot of things textbook. They did everything well. They pitched, first and foremost, they pitched well with Ullman. They swung the bats well. They ran the bases aggressively, and they also played great defense. So that was a pretty good combination for them.
Eric Ullman, the starter for Cal Poly yesterday, amazing to think he was only 2-8 coming into the game because he was absolutely brilliant. And Bob, talk about Ullman. He struck out 8, got into the 9th inning. Larry Lee tried to give him the complete game reward, but couldn't do it because of Bush's home run. But talk about Ullman and what you saw.
Well, what we saw was him throwing that ball at the knees all day. He was throwing that sinking fastball that was moving away to the left-handers and down and into the right-handers, and then he would throw that slider as well that would break away from the right-handers and into that back foot, back knee of the left-handed hitters, and he was peppering both sides of the plate all day, and his elevation was very good. His sink was good. We talked about it all day yesterday, that he's tough to elevate the ball on. And that's what he pretty much showed for 8+ innings.
And he got some great defense behind him. Most notably, Kyle Marincons at shortstop made a phenomenal play on a ball hit by Billy Frederick that went off of Ullman's shoulder, and Marincons with a bare hand play, Bob, and it was just one of those days. Josh George also made a terrific play in left field for Cal Poly. Gauchos were facing a shutout until the big bopper got up there in the 9th inning. Austin Bush hit his 16th home run of the season, Bob. Hit the 30th of his career. He's been swinging such a hot bat over the last month. And talk about Austin and what you've seen.
Well, he's just feeling good. The ball's looking big for him. And, that people were trying to get him out with earlier in the year, they're not getting him out with that pitch anymore. They try to go hard away, and he's hitting that pitch, and he's hammering it the other way. So then they try to do shakes up and up, and he can still hit that pitch in a long way, and he's been doing that. So he's been hitting the pitch away, and he's been hitting the pitch in. So he's feeling pretty good right now.
Today's starting pitchers brought to you by Montecito Bank and Trust. Montecito Bank and Trust, a proud sponsor of the Gauchos. Kyle Nelson will go for UCSB. The junior left-hander is 6-4. He'll be opposed by Spencer Howard, and Howard, Bob, is 6-1 with a 2.24 earned run average this season. When Nelly's on with that slider, he is almost unhittable, and you could say the same thing about Howard with his repertoire of pitches.
Well, the Gauchos are going to need the good Nelly today. They're going to need him to be able to keep the ball down in the zone, throw that slider for a strike, mix in a solid change, and locate his fastball. As far as Howard's concerned, that's a great story for Cal Poly. He was a walk-on guy from a local small school in Templeton and has blossomed into probably a top 3-round pick.
Absolutely. So the Gauchos and Cal Poly today in Game 2 of the 3-game set. One of the most important things about college baseball that we so often forget is how hard guys like Bob, when he was managing, and Coach Checketts and his staff today do, is recruiting. Recruiting is a never-ending job, and the Gauchos' head of recruiting, Bob, is Eddie Corneo, who does a fantastic job, but they're on the road so much.
Yeah, well, that's one of the things I don't miss about coaching. I like being home. And so, yeah, Eddie Cornejo does a great job. He's really a difference maker in what he's done here. The whole staff has done a great job, no question about it. But Eddie is out there all the time, beating the bushes and coming up with some great players.
And I had a chance to visit with Coach Corneo before today's game. We talked about the recruiting aspect of it and all that's involved in that, as well as some of his other duties. In the interview with Coach Corneo, brought to you by Montecito Bank and Trust. Back here with Coach Eddie Corneo, and Coach, my intro into you with Bob was talking about recruiting and how people don't realize all the work that goes behind the scenes and all the traveling you do. On the bus ride up to St. Mary's a couple of Tuesdays ago, you're on the phone all the time, and a lot of times I don't see you because you're out on the road. Talk about that and how competitive recruiting is in college baseball.
Well, it's extremely competitive, especially if you want to be good. the way the industry is going nowadays, you have to go after high school kids early. You've got to project them out early. I'm slowly getting away from it. I don't like it. I like guys with a chip on their shoulder, and sometimes that is created by the recruiting process when schools don't recruit them. Dylan Tate's a good example, getting passed up by everyone, and when he shows up to campus, he's out to prove to everyone that he's really good. So it's extremely competitive, especially during the season when you're playing 4 games a week, practicing 2, you have 1 day off. That's your recruiting day. So you just have to try to mix it in whenever you can. When we go on the road, I try and drive separately as often as possible so I can catch some games. It's just a 24/7 thing that has to constantly be on your mind.
Do kids get nervous knowing that you're going to be at a game, or Coach Walton, or Coach Checketts, or Coach Harvey?
Yeah, I mean, they get nervous at times. I like letting kids know that I'm going to be there on occasion because I want to see how they can handle the nervousness. I want to see how much confidence they have. Here's Coach. Let me play my best and show them what I got. And I like guys that are extremely confident, almost too confident in themselves. So it just depends on the situation. I like surprising guys at times just to see how they carry themselves when they don't think someone is there. So it just depends. Every situation's different.
Mm-hmm. And as we visit with Coach Corneo before today's game 2 against Cal Poly here on the Montecito Bank and Trust pregame show. So you go and you evaluate talent. What's the next step? Do you go to Coach Checketts at that point and say, okay, these are the guys that I've written up that I really like? How does that work?
Well, Coach Checketts has a lot of trust in me. I've known him for over 10 years, so we've talked a lot of baseball over the years. I think he trusts my evaluation of players. So if I feel a player is good enough for us, then I just kind of take it over. I use Coach Checketts whenever I need him. I know every player, I want to get them on campus because they need to see how beautiful this place is. I need to put him in front of Coach because he's a down-to-earth, easygoing guy. He gets along with everyone, and I think parents really feel that when they meet Coach Checketts that they feel like he's a guy that they can trust their kids with. Mm-hmm. So, when it comes to evaluating the pitchers, Coach Checketts has got an extensive history and great experience and resume with all that stuff. So I work with him and we collaborate on guys. But for the most part, I feel like if I want a guy, I go get him. Mm-hmm. I don't wait.
And I guess one of the biggest challenges for you, Coach, is the academic piece of UCSB. It's very difficult to get into this school. It's difficult to stay in this school. You really have to study hard. Chancellor Yang demands that of his students, and rightfully so. So it's not like, with all due respect to other schools, you can go get a kid that maybe isn't as strong academically as he needs to be for this school.
It's just a completely, getting into school is one thing, but staying in school and majoring in some of the fields that we have, it's not easy. And you add all the pressures of college baseball in the mix with the social atmosphere. It could be very taxing on guys over the course of a year. So you need special individuals that are devoted to being good on and off the field. And on occasion we might lose a player because of it, but that's okay. I mean, they need to know what the reality is of it here, and we want kids who are committed.
Final question for you, Coach, and I truly appreciate your time. The sacrifices that you make away from your great family, Melissa and your wonderful little baby boy, they're huge sacrifices because there's a lot of lonely times on the road. You wish you were with Melissa and your baby. Talk about the commitment that she's made to you and how she's made it possible for you to have this very, very taxing job.
Well, she's the best mother that I could ever ask for my son, and she's the best wife. And she's extremely competitive. So she loves the idea of, she loves the fact that I'm a coach. She loves what I do, and she's extremely supportive. And so if I need to go somewhere, she's going to understand, and she's going to take care of the household, and she's going to try and attend every game that she can because she loves the Gauchos.
She more competitive than you?
No.
Game of tennis out there?
We have played tennis before, and she's pretty good, but she can't take me.
Thank you so much for your time, Coach. I appreciate it as always, and continue success and best of luck to you and the Gauchos the rest of the way. Coach Cornero joining us here on the Montecito Bank and Trust pregame show. My thank you to Eddie Corneo joining us here on the Montecito Bank and Trust pregame show. Montecito Bank and Trust, a proud sponsor of the Gauchos. Jerry Paul, Bob Bronsema with you. And our big thanks, as always, Bob, to our great crew, Eddie Epperson and Trevor in the control room, Diego and Greg and Colin, who's not here with us, and Grace and everything. They do a great job, and we really, really appreciate them.
And they have a difficult job, Jerry, because
here it comes.
They have to make us look good.
All right. No, but they do. They make you look good.
Well,
but
I don't know about that, but they do a heck of a job, and I appreciate all they do. Cause they got to stand there in this beautiful sun and soak that up a little bit more than they may like.
Well, the Gauchos need to do a better job today, Bob, of everything, because yesterday Cal Poly just came in here and just played a fundamentally sound baseball game, and there you get a look at Kyle Nelson, today's starting pitcher for UCSB. Nelly will try to get back in the win column, Bob. It was it was kind of one of those up and down starts at Fullerton last week. The Gauchos got him a 4-1 lead, and then Nelly gave up 3 runs in the third, and that tied the game, and it stayed 4-4 until the 6th. Then Nelly gave up 4 more, and that turned out to be the final 8-4. So I know in life we'd like to go back and do things again and change things, but you can't. But he had 2 bad innings in 6 against the number 14 team in the country, and Fullerton has a way of really making you pay in a big way when you have a bad inning against it.
It's exactly what I was going to say. They find a way to just stay close, and then all of a sudden the dam kind of breaks. That's been the Fullerton way for forever.
Right.
And that's why they were big. That's not the only reason, but proponents of the, sacrifice bunt, keep it small, just keep pecking away, because all of a sudden they're going to put a crooked number up on you, and that's what they've done over time, and one of the reasons why they're a great program.
Absolutely. Well, at home plate, it's the assistant coaches exchanging the lineup cards. Eddie Corneo for the Gauchos and Teddy Walker for Cal Poly. Teddy, a graduate of Santa Barbara High. His father, Fred, a legendary coach out there for 42 years, the head coach of Santa Barbara High. And right now, Teddy's brother, Donnie, and his other brother, Wes, are running the Dons. And Teddy's been with Coach Lee's program for a number of years now, and does a great job up there, as Eddie Corneo does down here for Andrew Checkett.
Yeah.
So
it's a great baseball family, the Workers.
Well, I tell you what, I don't think you can be a member of the family unless you know how to bunt.
Yeah. You can't be a member of the family unless you're like 6'8", and until you talk about genes in that family, boy, the boys come out of that family that are just athletically inclined bodies.
And Donnie was a great catcher for you.
Donnie was a great catcher for me.
One of your regional clubs.
Donnie,
I remember that back at Notre Dame.
Yeah, Donnie is a great story in that he did like a lot of the Workers, where he took a year off and then he went to a junior college, and in this case Donnie went to Hancock College. And was just a guy, he had his dad, matter of fact, at the athletic roundtable, came up to me and said, my son got in and he's coming. And I said, we will give him every opportunity possible. And, at the time we were in need of catchers, and we had recruited actually 2, a high school kid with unbelievable promise and a junior college catcher who was a solid defensive Jimmy Walker, as a matter of fact.
Right, okay.
And Teddy was the non-scholarship guy who came in and just stole the show and ended up being pretty much the everyday catcher, and it was just a great story. And he was the catcher on probably one of the better offensive teams this school's ever produced.
Absolutely.
So
absolutely.
Anyway, that's the quick, maybe not so quick, Donnie Worker story. But Worker's great baseball family. It's been a pleasure to be associated with them for a lot of years.
Absolutely. And Teddy we're going to have the first pitch here, and there it is. Good pitch.
Nice.
Little cutter bob on the outside corner to a right-hander, but I remember when I first got to the market, and I had the pleasure of coming to this town, and when I began driving people nuts in 1993, and I still do that in Hall of Fame fashion today, but I was working at KCOY in Santa Maria when Teddy was playing for Hancock. And back then, they have a different ballpark now where the wind blows in from left, I guess, it blows a different direction now because the ballpark faces a different direction. But
Right.
there would be a howling wind every game blowing in from right field, and
Yes.
Teddy would just pound balls over the right field wall into that wind in games. It was easy to cover Hancock because in TV, you'd like to stay for the whole game, Bob, but you got to get your highlights, get back, to the station, edit them. Teddy'd always give me great highlights because he'd hit bombs, and then I'd take off, go back and edit them.
And he was such a good hitter that he ended up a pitcher in pro ball.
With the Cleveland Indians
Yes.
organization. All right, so the Gauchos getting ready to take the field here, trying to even this series after an 11-2 loss yesterday. For Cal Poly, 24-27 overall, 12-7 in the Big West Conference. Alex McKenna leads off and plays center field. Bradley Beasley, the third baseman, bats second. Kyle Marincons, who had a 3-run homer and made a great defensive play yesterday, will bat third and play short. Michael Sanderson, the first baseman, will bat cleanup. Nick Meyer, terrific game at the plate and behind the plate for Cal Poly yesterday, will catch and bat fifth. Elijah Skips, the DH, bats sixth. Scott Ogren, who had a triple in yesterday's game, in the 9-hole, will bat seventh and play second. Kevin Morgan in left field hitting eighth, and Colby Barrick, we saw him come on as a defensive replacement. Pinch hitter and defensive replacement in yesterday's game. He'll bat ninth to play right field. And the Gauchos take the field behind Kyle Nelson. And before we get to the Gauchos alignment, we will have our national anthem.
Those who serve and have served with the flag of the Star-Spangled Banner. We thank you. It's game 2 of the Blue-Green rivalry. It's time for Gauchos Baseball.
So Kyle Nelson takes the mound. And Nelly going for his 7th win of the season. And Kyle, the junior left-hander, a lot of scouts here today. Bob, looking at not just Kyle Nelson, but Spencer Howard from Cal Poly, the starter for the Mustangs. But Nelly out there taking his warm-up tosses. And he'll be, like I said, looking to get to 7-4. Nelson with a 4.88 earned run average, making his 14th start. He's pitched 75 2/3 innings, struck out 60, walked 25, and opponents hitting .229 against Kyle Nelson. Defensively for the Gauchos, behind Nelly, you've got Kenny Corey at third, J.J. Muno at short, Colton Burns at second, Austin Bush over at first. Dempsey Grover behind the plate, Billy Frederick in left, Tommy Jew in center, and Armani Smith in right field. Beautiful day for baseball, Bob. Any day is a beautiful day for baseball. I could even, believe it or not, I could even sit at Wrigley Field or Yankee Stadium early in the season or late in the season when it's really cold and still enjoy this great game.
Well, there's so much to love about it. And if you've played the game and you just understand the intricacies of the game, and there's so much more to it than meets the eye. And so if you're not a student of the game, I can understand, some people think the pace is a certain way, but if you understand the game, it's just an art form, and it's just a pleasure to be associated with the game, quite frankly.
It certainly is. Greatest game ever made, I think. Alex McKenna leads off, the sophomore hitting .363 with 5 home runs, 30 runs batted in. McKenna with 11 doubles and 2 triples. He has struck out 42 times this season. And Nelly's first pitch of the ball game is on the outside corner for a strike, 0-1. Travis Katzenmeyers, the home plate umpire. Kellen Levy at first. Adam Dowdy, who had the plate yesterday, is over at third. And Nelson's next offering is swung on and missed, and a good change. And it's 0-2. So Bob, Kyle's got the fastball in the high 80s, mid to high 80s. He's got that great slider, and that changeup's just gotten better and better, I think, every start.
Well, that's the pitch he's going to need against these right-handed hitters to go through the lineup multiple times. I think he's still going to use that slider as his strikeout pitch, but he needs to get that changeup in their head.
1-2. There's that slider down and in to McKenna. 2-2.
That's good discipline, because that was a very good pitch. That was exactly where Nelly wanted to throw it, and it was good discipline to lay off that.
Here's the 2-2. Swung on and missed a slider, and Grover will throw to first to get McKenna out, number 1.
I think that might have been the change even, because that sunk away from her a little bit.
Actually, that's what I meant to say, the change. I say a slider changeup is what it was.
That's a beautiful pitch, and he's thrown a couple good sliders already. Changeups already. We know the slider's going to be good, but that changeup's going to be important for him with these right-handed hitters.
Here's Bradley Beasley hitting .317, no home runs, 14 runs batted in, and he takes a strike, a fastball in the inside corner at the letters. No balls and 1 strike. Larry Lee in his 15th season at Cal Poly down the line at third was the head coach of the Mustangs. Here's the next pitch. Swung on and chopped to third, and that is Kenny Corey. He's got it, throws across in time, out number 2. But Corey was playing shallow there, a step or so behind the bag at third, and perfectly aligned by Coach Cornell, Coach Walton, Coach Checketts. So 2 up, 2 down here in the first inning.
You see here how he gets him out in front a little bit, just enough to roll over. Tap one over to Kenny Corey for the out.
So here is Marin Kahns, the shortstop. Kyle hit a 3-run homer, as I mentioned yesterday, hitting .259 with 2 home runs, 28 runs batted in. He has 12 doubles and 2 triples. And the 1-0 swung on and foul, tipped off of Grover, and Dempsey's okay. 1 ball and 1 strike. The outfield for the Gauchos pretty much straight away. We saw some very exaggerated shifts yesterday, Bob, from the Gauchos. And
yeah, the Gauchos don't usually go exaggerated with their outfielders. It's usually mostly their infielders. So I can't recall too many times where I've seen them do what they did yesterday with their outfielders.
Nelly's 1-1 pitch, fouled off. Good slider that time. That was breaking sharply away from Marin Kahns. Kyle's just a sophomore, and they are so excited at Cal Poly to obviously have him back for 1 more year.
Well, anytime you can get your shortstop back, no matter what year, he's a smart defensive player.
And I knew one named Johnny Bronsema.
Well,
he was terrific. Here's the pitch, and that's lined into right field. Boy, I had to wait just for a second, Bob, to see if Colton was going to come up with that. Yeah, Johnny was a great one at Santa Barbara High and at UC Irvine, and now in the pro ranks.
Yeah, he just got the move up to Lexington, Kentucky today. He's on a plane right now, flying to Atlanta. So
well, congratulations to Johnny.
Hoping that all goes well for him.
Well, we keep me apprised of that, will you? Because I write over at the News Press. So does Patton. We'd love to write something on that. Huh? Michael Sanderson. .329 average, 2 home runs, 24 runs batted in, and Marin Kahns really hit that ball hard. But with Colton Burns out there, you always have to wait because he can make some incredible plays. There's a strike, 0-1.
Yeah, that big long body almost paid off for it right there, just over the outstretched glove. And another changeup right there. So far Nelly's thrown some very good changeups. Better than the slider actually up to this point, because he was up in the zone a little bit with Marincons, and that's how he was able to get that lenient in the right.
Bush holding Marincons at first, and Colton Burns has now moved well over to his right toward the bag at second. So there's a gigantic hole on the right side of the infield. And that one fouled off to the right and out of place, and Nelly quickly ahead, no balls and 2 strikes. We talked about it yesterday, Bob, the number of Gauchos who are draft eligible this year, others who have a year of eligibility left but are scheduled to graduate next month. Well, Nelly is one of those juniors, and he very likely is making his final home start as a Gaucho today, because the word obviously is, and the feeling is, that he will be drafted.
Well, I would certainly think so. It's just hard to believe that someone doesn't want to take a chance on a left-hander that competes like he does.
And is a terrific pitcher. In center field, Tommy Jew is shaded a little toward right center, so they're playing Sanderson to hit the other way in the outfield. And on the infield, except for Colton Burns, they're pretty much straight away. There's a change low and in, and that evens the count at 2 balls and 2 strikes. Supposed to be a hot one today, Bob. 83, 85 degrees, something like that.
Yeah, which means it's perfect under here.
Yeah, where we are under the grandstand. I don't know if you watch KEYT at all, but Alan Rose to me is absolutely outstanding. He gets everything right. Here's the 2-2. Slider in this one, loop to Bush at first, and Austin comes in and makes the catch. You talk about a jam job, that was a jam job.
Yeah, he got a little jelly on his knuckles, I think, on that one.
Yeah, but Alan said 83 degrees today, and I just heard our terrific public address announcer, Eric Evelhawk, say that it's 83 degrees at game time, so Alan hits it out of the park again.
He's the man.
Nothing across for Cal Poly, despite a 2-out base hit by Marincons. We go to the bottom of the first. Cal Poly nothing, UCSB coming to bat.
Looking to experience the best of Santa Barbara? You know, get a local's take. Montecito Bank and Trust has over 40 years of local expertise, personalized service, and creative financial solutions, plus an unrivaled dedication to the communities we serve. With 10 locations across Santa Barbara and Ventura counties, see how we can be the perfect partner for you and your banking needs. Visit montecito.bank today.
Spencer Howard takes his warm-up tosses for the Cal Poly Mustangs. He has had a terrific season, Bob. Howard is 6-1 with a 2.24 earned run average, 72 and a third innings. He has struck out 78 and walked only 19, and opponents hitting 224 against him. And Spencer, just a sophomore.
Well, he's a redshirt sophomore.
Right, so he's draft eligible.
Draft eligible, which is why you have a lot of guns peering over your shoulders right now. Spencer's won his last 4 outings for the Mustangs, and talking to Coach Lee, he had said he's just been the most consistent guy that they've had, and you know, he started the year in the pen, and he's worked his way into the starting rotation as one of their best guys. And it's really a good story, like I said, because he was a walk-on with the Templeton High School, which is a pretty small high school up north.
Not far from San Luis Obispo.
Yeah, not too far from San Luis, and you know, went to their camp, and you know, was throwing 82, 83, and they really didn't think much about it, but he walked on there, and he's developed himself into a top 3-round pick. Just a great story, what you love to hear, and there are great walk-on stories out there, and this is certainly one of them.
So here's Colton Burns hitting .311, 3 home runs, 13 runs batted in. Colton had an infield single yesterday off of Eric Ullman, and that was the only base runner the Gauchos had until the 4th inning. He led off the bottom of the first, and that was the only hit the Gauchos had off of Ullman until Billy Frederick singled in the 6th. So it's Colton Burns, Billy Frederick batting second, playing left. Armani Smith batting third, playing right. Austin Bush, the first baseman, will bat cleanup, and the 1-0 is fouled off. Sam Cohen, the DH, batting fifth. Tommy Jew in center, hitting sixth. J.J. Muno, the shortstop, bats seventh. Kenny Corey at third base, hitting eighth. And Dempsey Grover, the catcher, batting ninth. And we'll give you Cal Poly defensively after Howard's 1-1 pitch. And that one hit on the ground to the left side, deep and short. Marin Khan's great range, throws over,
Nice
got
pick.
him. And a good pick
Yes,
at first
it was.
base by Sanderson. And another great play by Marin Khan's for out number one.
Well, it's a kind of a replay of yesterday's first at bat. That little ball into the six hole a little bit. Americans played that very aggressively. Came on, got a good grip this time. The throw was a little short, but very, very nice pick over there by Sanderson.
Well, apparently old Kyle didn't want me to wait. He didn't want to wait for me to introduce him because he just introduced himself at shortstop. Bradley Beasley is at third. Scott Ogren is the second baseman. Michael Sanderson at first. Nick Meyer behind the plate. Kevin Morgan in left field, Alex McKenna in center, and Colby Barrick in right field. Here's Billy, and Frederick hits one high in the air out to right center field, and this looks like it will be the center fielder McKenna to make the catch for out number two.
So Howard's going to be 94-95. Throws a cutter, more of a cutter than a slider, and a changeup. Probably one of the reasons why he started the year out in the pen. Was probably more of a two-pitch guy when he was out of the pen. But he's developed that third pitch, and it's been pretty successful for him. His numbers are outstanding. Got second best ERA in the Big West.
Here's Armani Smith hitting .285. Outstanding looking freshman for the Gauchos. Smith also with 3 home runs, 22 runs batted in, 9 doubles and 1 triple. Billy was hitting .276, by the way, before he flew out. The 1-0 from Howard is chopped, and that one is deep at third. Good play at third, and the long throw is not in time. Armani beat it out. Boy, Beasley had to wait for that high chopper, Bob, and he did a nice job to back up on that, but Armani runs very, very well, and he beats it out for an infield single with 2 outs.
I think they might give that an error.
Is it an error?
Yeah, the throw was wide, well off the base. It was a long throw, but it was very wide, and a good throw would have had him.
Well, I actually gave him a hit.
No.
Or they didn't. They haven't. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. They gave him an error.
Yeah.
They just put the error up. So here is Austin Bush. Bush, .291 average, 16 home runs, 50 runs batted in. And the scouts are paying big-time attention to this big fella. 6'6", 260-pound power hitting first baseman for the Gauchos, who hit his 16th of the season yesterday. 9th inning, 2-run shot that prevented Cal Poly from completing the shutout.
Change up.
And that's what it was. And Austin out in front of it, 1 ball and 1
It's nice.
strike.
I could have coached in the dugout. I said I like to coach third base yesterday because I could get pitches, but if I'd have had a monitor in there, you could see that Spencer Howard a little bit deeper in the glove on that changeup. So the Gauchos want me to call pitches. Just give me that angle.
There you go. I don't think
Few
Larry
more-
would like
few-
that.
yeah, maybe
Here's
not.
the pitch. Swung on and foul tipped into the glove of
All right, so I'm
Meyer.
stopping doing that. But we talked about that yesterday. That's why I actually really coached third base, because I couldn't see far enough from the dugout to relay pitches, so I had to be in the third base box.
1 ball and 2 strikes on Bush. Smith over at first. And the 1-2 on the way. Swung on and pulled foul past Ryan Clark in the first base coaching box, and that one down the line. Eddie Corneo, our guest on the pregame show, is in the third base coaching box.
How did he do?
Great.
He's a quiet one.
He's very well spoken.
Oh, I know that.
Did a wonderful job.
He's a man of few words, I think.
I can get him to talk. Because you see,
That's 'cause you're Jerry.
No. Because if I get him to talk, that means he doesn't have to listen to Big Mouth. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Smith bluffs, doesn't go. This one ripped to deep right field, and that's off the wall. Barrick fields, and now the play at the plate. Smith is going to not come to the plate. He'll stay at third. So Austin, with a lot of topspin, almost hit it out, and that one pelted the right field fence, and a nice job by Colby Barrick to get that one in a hurry.
Yeah, that just missed. That probably missed by, I would say, 2 feet from getting out of here, and hit kind of the corner of one of those pads. at the perpendicular pad and the lateral pad there, just below the fence line. And Austin was kind of hoping it was getting out of here because he didn't want to have to run that hard. But as soon as it hit the top of the fence, he had to shift it into another gear.
So here's swinging Sammy Cohen, and for Austin Bush, that is his 11th double of the season. And that time Howard left one up in the zone, and Austin got it. So second and third, and Cohen chops one into center field. No, it's not. It's fielded by the second baseman, but the throw is high and late, and the Gauchos have scored. Smith comes in to score to make it 1-0. A heck of a try by Ogren. I really thought that was into center field, Bob, but Ogren with great range got to it, and Sammy, a left-handed hitter, closer to first base than that of a right-handed hitter, and with good speed, beat it out for an infield single and an RBI.
Yeah, he did everything he can. That ball's well up the middle, but just couldn't get enough on the throw. Obviously had enough distance, but he had to throw it so high to get it there. No chance. So big two-out knock right there.
And Austin over to third. Sammy over at first, being held on by Sanderson, and the pitch to Tommy Jew, low and away. 1 ball and no strikes. Tommy hitting .280. Redshirt freshman has been outstanding in center field this season. 2 home runs, 25 runs batted in, 8 doubles, and 4 triples.
So the Gauchos strike early with an unearned run, and there's a couple more ducks out there that they'd like to cash in.
And there's a strike, 1-1. Andrew Wagner, our terrific sports information director for baseball, Bob, does such a wonderful job. But with Armani Smith's speed and that ball chopped so high at third and Beasley having to back up on it and rush the throw a little bit, could you also see Andrew giving that a base hit?
You want my honest answer on that one?
Well, because I think he gave him an error for the right reason. If the throw is accurate, it beats him. Here's the pitch low and away, 2-1.
Well, I'm sorry to say this, but that's a play the third baseman has to make 99% of the time. It's just, he had to move a step or two maybe to his right. He didn't have to go back. He was playing there.
I thought he had to back up just a couple of steps or a step or two on that, but maybe not. So Beasley backs up now at third with a 2-1 count on Tommy, and here's the 2-1. That's fouled down the right field line and out of play, 2-2. So Bush at third, Cohen at first. The Gauchos up 1-0.
We all know that Alan Way's making all the calls up there anyway, all those scoring decisions.
Andrew does a great job up there.
Yes, he does.
2 balls and 2 strikes. I was actually surprised that Beasley backed up on that 2-1 pitch because Tommy can bunt. And there's a looper out into left center. That's going to drop for a base hit. Austin Bush scores. And going to third base on the play is Cohen, who was running with 2 outs. And the Gauchos lead it 2-0 as Morgan gets it back in. Little cue shot off the end of the bat there, Bob, and it worked for an RBI single for Tommy Jew.
Just what the Gauchos need, 2-out knock. And once again, there's a lot of inning left in this deal with their inspirational guy, inspirational leader coming up here, and Muno. This is the type of situation he thrives in. So, although he thrives in every situation, I guess I should say, but there's some runs out there to be had for the Gauchos.
Meyer goes out to talk to Spencer Howard, who is not used to laboring like this in the first inning.
When you want to jump on these good arms early in the game, this is the time to get them. This is what we've talked about, that automatic 2 that the Gauchos putting on there. They're hoping that they turn it into an automatic 3 or more.
Muno up there, 7th man to bat in the inning here in the first, hitting .256, 3 home runs, 25 runs batted in, 7 doubles, and 1 triple. And JJ looks at ball 1, a little bit low. 1 ball and no strikes. So over at third is Sam Cohen. Over at first is Tommy Jew, who just knocked in his 26th run of the season. The outfield, McKenna in center, shaded a bit the other way for Muno. So there's a big gap in right center. Muno hits it right at McKenna. Boy, they had him played perfectly, and McKenna back on that one, makes the catch to retire the side. But the Gauchos strike first in this one with 2 runs on 3 hits. There was 1 Cal Poly error and 2 runners left on. We go to the second here at Cesar Wasaka Stadium, 2-0, UCSB.
That's not mobile banking.
Deposit checks on the go with the MBNT banking app. This is mobile banking. Download today.
So the Gauchos strike first, Bob, with a couple of runs, and that's always going to make a starting pitcher, in this case Kyle Nelson, feel pretty good about things. But what you ask of Kyle now, and it's never easy on the Division I level, especially when you're playing in the Big West Conference, is to come back with a shutdown inning against a team like Cal Poly. But Kyle can do it.
Yeah, and that's kind of his MO. He's a competitor. He does all the things you want from a coaching standpoint from your guy. And it's not Friday, but he's the guy, and I would expect a great inning from him right here.
Nick Meyer, outstanding catcher for Cal Poly, steps in there hitting .254. Meyer with a home run, 30 runs batted in. And Nelly misses low and away. 1 ball and no strikes. I think, Bob, that was the change again. I think Nelly's, it was a pitch he was working on at the beginning of the year, and he wasn't happy with the progress out of fall ball. He thought that should have been more of an effective pitch earlier this season, and he's continued to work diligently on that changeup, and it's gotten really good, I think.
Well, I agree, and when you're a baseball player, you're going to be working on your craft forever. It's something you're always trying to perfect and do something to get better.
One popped out of Dempsey's glove, but called a strike by home plate umpire Travis Katzenmeyer. 2 balls and 1 strike. Big crowd out here today. We had a nice crowd yesterday. This one's already bigger. Should be a big one tomorrow for senior day. 2-1. Pulled, foul past Larry Lee in the third base coaching box. Larry's been down there a while. He knows how to react to those bullets.
And he used to dodge him when he was an infielder too, so he's got that move down. No, I'm just kidding. Larry was a great player. Pepperdine University.
And Larry in his 15th season with the Mustangs. Here's a line drive center field base hit. So Kyle left that one up a little bit, and Meyer made him pay for it with a leadoff single here in the top of the second inning. That'll bring up Elijah Skips. Skips had a good game yesterday, like most of the Mustangs did. He's hitting .248 with a couple of home runs, 18 runs batted in. Skips also has 7 doubles and 1 triple. And he's a well put together left-handed hitter, Bob.
Yes, he is. Went to the University of Arizona out of high school.
Yes, he has to bend out of the way of this one, 1-0.
Bounced back to Cypress College and then up here to Central Coast.
A little cooler where he plays than it is in Arizona. Gauchos in double play, depth up the middle. J.J. Muno at short. And Colton Burns away from the bag at second, a little bit more than Muno because of the left-handed hitting Skips. So Burns, the second baseman, is
I had
away.
Skips listed as a switch hitter, or at least a sheet had him listed as a switch hitter. So I'm guessing he's not.
2-0, and this one pulled foul.
You know why I'm guessing that?
Why?
Because he's hitting left-handed
Yeah,
against left-handed. Okay.
Well, he might have been at one point, and then maybe just, I guess ball players will do that sometimes, Bob. They figure, I'm not having much success going to my unnatural side. Might as well just stay on my natural side. So it could have been something like that.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
2 balls and 1 strike. And there goes the runner. The pitch is taken. The throw to second, and that one is high and not in time. So a good jump at second base there, at first base by Meyer, and he steals second. And that was a tough pitch for Dempsey to throw on because it was a breaking ball that was inside the Skips. And
it was close. He was safe, but he almost came off the bag. If this was the big league, we might be looking at that one again just to see if there was any gap in there. But Meyer has continued to do some good things on the bases this weekend.
Skips with a 3-1 count. And he fouls this one straight back, had a good rip at an elevated fastball, so it's a full count now of 3 balls and 2 strikes. Ellie trying to come back and get Skips here. Skips has played in every game except one this season for Cal Poly. Meyer out at second. Nelly shakes Grover, wants another sign. And there's a slider, swung on and missed. And Skips offered it a slider that didn't slide much, Bob. It actually stayed up that time. And Skips just missed it on the swing.
He was expecting it to break down, and it just, as you said, it didn't. And he was just totally fooled, and now tried to fight it off, and just ended up kicking himself all the way back to the dugout on that one, because they ended up swinging that ball 4.
So with 1 out, here is Scott Ogren. Ogren hitting .248 with a couple of home runs, 18 runs batted in, and he takes high 1-0. And now Dempsey's going to go out and talk to Kyle Nelson.
Well, you have a catcher at second base, and when you have a catcher at second base, and especially, you know, as we said yesterday, Coach Lee had said this guy is
comes Checketts. I'm sorry, Bob.
As close to a coach on the field that he's ever had. He's been a student watching those signs for about 6-7 pitches, and maybe the Gauchos feel that he's on to something. So they wanted to go back out there and say, you know, we're going to change this up or change that up, or that could be, or they're just saw something mechanically and they want to adjust it.
No, that's a very good point. You oftentimes forget about the guy at second base, who's a catcher in this case, who may be one of the best of the ball club at picking signs.
Yeah, you just never know. Those guys are usually the ones that should have an idea. They've been on multiple teams throughout their time growing up, and usually each team has a different set. So you have that's how it's easy to pick signs if you have experience at different things. If all you've ever done is gone 1 and 2 and 3, you know, fastball, curveball, slider, that's the only set you're going to be able to pick. But if you know 6-7 different sets, you can sit out there for multiple pitches and kind of work those in your brain, and those guys usually can do that.
2 balls and no strikes to Ogren. And that one nubbed off the end of the bat behind the plate. Good change there from Nelson, had Ogren out in front of it. Ogren is a junior, good-looking second baseman. And he had a good game yesterday.
Ogren is a freshman, actually, I believe.
Oh, I beg your pardon. Yes, I looked at the wrong line.
Yes.
I've done that a few times in my life.
He's from Valencia High School, home of Kevin Chandler and Keston Hira and some of these other, what an outstanding high school program.
That one again nubbed behind the plate, foul. You ought to see me at the eye doctor. He says, hey, look at line 4. Looking at like line 8.
Well, that's pretty good. If he's asking you to read line 4. And
yeah, that's why I'm there.
Yeah, and you're reading line 8. It sounds to me like you'd be at a different doctor. If you're reading line 8, you're doing all right. I go in there and they say, what can you read? I said, I know the top one's an E.
And I wish you put more big letters on the top.
Yeah. At least it used to be an E.
2-2. Strike 3 called. And Ogren knew it. That was a great slider from Nelson, maybe his best so far in the early going, breaking sharply down at the knees. And Ogren looked at it for strike 2, so a good visit by Andrew Checketts.
Yeah, he thought that, he must have been thinking that was a fastball, because he kind of quit on that thing, and that just dropped real nicely into the strike zone.
So with 2 outs, here's Kevin Morgan. Morgan, a senior, hitting .252 with a couple of home runs, 13 runs batted in. Out at second is Meyer dancing off the bag. And a good slider from Nelly there. 0-1. Bob, talk about how this is the first time Cal Poly has seen Nelson through the order, but then when you get into the second and third time through the order, pitchers really need to adjust, don't they? Because hitters don't forget what they saw in their first at bat, do they?
Well, you do have to adjust. That's why you need 3 pitches as a starter, or even 4th would be nice if you have the ability to do that. But you have to be able to pitch guys a different way.
1-1.
But saying that, if you found a way that you can get somebody out, you're not going to go away from it. If there's a hole in that swing, you're going to keep shooting that hole until, I mean, he can try to make adjustments. Some people can think they're making adjustments, but they just can't hit certain pitches.
There's a slider that's
how
high,
you end up
2-1.
That's how you end up as a commentator on streams. You can't hit certain pitches or hurt them.
Well, it's just a fascination I have with baseball, with how the hitter is adjusting and how the pitcher is adjusting, how the hitter tries to play cat and mouse with the pitcher. And 2 balls, 1 strike. And that one lined to left center. Tommy got a good jump. Will get there in time to make the catch to retire the side. Jew was shaded just a couple of steps the other way toward right center, but Tommy is so quick out there and gets that good first step, Bob. He makes that play.
Very good jump. You're right. That was that had gap written on it because he was to that pull side. But good first step. Good job by Nelly putting the shutdown inning up.
And off the bat of a left-handed hitter, that is going to slice away from the center fielder in that situation. But Tommy got to it. You see Big Neil there. Number 24, the Gauchos hitting coach. He'll go back to his piece of paper and pencil and try to get the Gauchos going here in the bottom of the second. We go to the bottom of the second, 2-0. UCSB over Cal Poly here at Cesar Wasaka Stadium.
Looking to experience the best of Santa Barbara? You know, get a local's take. Montecito Bank and Trust has over 40 years of local expertise, personalized service, and creative financial solutions, plus an unrivaled dedication to the communities we serve. With 10 locations across Santa Barbara and Ventura counties, see how we can be the perfect partner for you and your banking needs. Visit montecito.bank today.
Corey.
So here's Kenny Corey to lead off for UCSB here in the bottom of the second. Jerry and Bob with you, 2-0 Gauchos. Corey hitting .303, no home runs, 19 runs batted inning. Kenny's a very aggressive hitter early in counts. Right there, on cue. I get one right every once in a while, Bob.
Don't sell yourself short, Jerry.
You're a tremendous slouch.
That's
Remember
exactly.
Caddyshack?
Oh, absolutely. But Corey's been swinging. He was 0 for 3 yesterday, but he hit at least 2 balls right on the screws yesterday.
Yeah.
So when you're going well, you try not to let that. Try to look at your numbers on that. And it's really hard for hitters to realize what a good at bat is. Well, it's not hard to realize what it is, but it's hard to accept it sometimes. But he had good at bats yesterday, and he needs to stay positive.
Now one hit to Ogren at second, and he'll wait for Sanderson to get to the bag. Out number 1. Kenny is a guy that has an opposite field to middle of the field approach, Bob, and it's done well for him this year. He really, watching him all season and talking to Neil Walton and talking to Coach Checkitz and talking to Kenny, he really doesn't try to pull the ball that much.
Well, there's a lot of hits the other way, and especially in college, these pitchers really try to live on the outer half.
Here's Grover, and he takes a strike.
The aluminum bat has just kind of created that. Now the bats are different now, and the game's a little bit different. But pitchers have, and it's also the toughest pitch to hit, throwing that ball in that 4 spot, which is the down and away location to every hitter.
Dempsey hitting .284 with 4 home runs this season.
So it makes sense to have that. You know, if you want to be a high average hitters, use the whole field, and to be able to hit that pitch, which is considered the toughest pitch to hit, is a plus.
Dempsey looks at a good slider on the outside corner. Actually, may have been the cutter there, Bob, from Howard. That's a good pitch. 1-2. Well, Dempsey's also a guy that throughout his Gaucho career has hit very well the opposite way.
Well, when he's hitting well, he's hitting the ball hard the other way.
And there's a swing and a miss. And that is out number 2. That was a big looping curveball from Howard. I'm not sure we've seen that pitch.
Yeah, I agree. That look wasn't on the scouting report. You see it here on the replay.
Dalton
That's
Burns.
a heck of a pitch.
That was a definite breaking ball that my sources, mainly Teddy Worker and Larry Lee, did not reveal. They thought I was giving the information back to the coaches here at UCSB.
Kept one out of the ball bag on you here. Here's Burns, and it's Olgren knocks it down, still has time, and a 1-2-3 inning for Spencer Howard. So quite the opposite of the first inning when the Gauchos banged out 3 hits against him and scored 2 runs. And Howard gets back to the dugout in a hurry here in the second. We've completed 2 at Cesar Wasaka Stadium, 2-0, UCSB.
That's not mobile banking.
Deposit checks on the go with the MBNT banking app. This is mobile banking. Download today.
Kyle Nelson getting set to begin his 3rd inning of work. Jerry Paul, Bob Bronsema with you here at Cesar Wasaka Stadium. 2-0 Gauchos on 3 hits. Gauchos have not made an error yet. Cal Poly has 2 hits off Nelly, and they have committed 1 error. It'll be Colby Barrett, the number 9 hitter, hitting .321. Barrett has 26 hits and 81 at bats, no home runs, 13 runs batted in. He's got 4 doubles and 1 triple for Cal Poly. Seeing Nelly for the first time, didn't take him long to see Nelly as he singles into right center field.
We talked about it yesterday that this guy's got good numbers, and he's played a lot of games, but he didn't start the first game. And it's interesting that he gets a start against left here. So obviously a great move right there by Coach Lee, because there's a knock.
And here's Alex McKenna, who struck out against Nelson in the first inning. Barrick being held on by Austin Bush at first. And will throw over. Colby on the season, 2 out of 3 in stolen bases. That's the 3rd hit for the Mustangs. That evens the tally with the Gauchos. And McKenna chops a changeup foul behind the plate. That's a pitch that Nelly has thrown a lot so far in the early going in this one. It's got a lot of movement, Bob.
Yeah.
When he's thrown it correctly, it's really got a lot of sink to it.
It's been good, and as we expect from Nelly.
Nelly has not thrown a lot of fastballs. Cal Poly, a very good fastball hitting team. They traditionally are. Here's a ball hit off the end of the bat, deep and short. Munoz got it. Will go to second. Did he get him? He did. What a play by JJ.
Yes, sir.
And I think we're gonna, Larry is over at third base, Larry Lee. And I thought Larry might come out. That was bang, bang, but what a play by Muno, who was shaded up the middle in double play position and had to go far to his right, and Barrick runs pretty well, and he got him.
He does run well, and I don't know if he got a bad jump, but that was a great play, especially with the situation you're considering with the top of the lineup right there, 2 guys on. That'd be first, second, nobody out. Just an outstanding play.
Here's Beasley, and he hits one fouled on the left field line. That one will hit off the fence near the Gaucho bullpen, and that's Chris Clements going to get it.
JJ has been impressive at shortstop. And like I said, I know he played it in high school and all that type of stuff, but he is not what you would consider your prototypical shortstop, but he has been outstanding at that position since he's moved there.
Replacing the great Clay Fisher, who had an elbow injury and had Tommy John surgery. Clay told me the other day at practice he's still about 5 months away from even being able to throw a ball. He obviously can't swing for at least another 2 or 3 months, and he can't even run right now, Bob, he told me, because God forbid he were to trip or something like that and go down on it, he could injure it again. That's Beasley taken outside, 1-1.
That's the interesting draft for me.
Yes.
Does somebody take him? Does someone take him even with, him not really going to be able to go out and play this year?
It's a great question.
Because he is certainly a talent, and he is certain. Yes. If he was healthy, it'd be a no-brainer. So I think someone's going to take him. I think he's going to have a decision to make whether or not he wants to come back or if he wants to go play pro ball. And those decisions usually don't end well for the schools.
Yeah. 1 ball and 1 strike to Beasley. There's a fastball popped up. This one playable. Third base side, Kenny Corey under it, and Corey drops the ball, fighting the sun. Nelson picks it up, throws to second, and the ball is not fielded cleanly by Colton Burns on the low throw. Well, what's interesting is the sun is actually behind Corey a little bit, I think, or I don't know that it's directly above him. That was popped a mile in the air, and
well, I'm pretty sure that was not a sun problem. I just, I had it at Chris Valleca. If you remember Chris Valleca, played in the big leagues.
Brothers playing for Colorado right now.
Correct. Phenomenal player.
Yes.
Phenomenal kid. Just every phenomenal thing he could do, except catch pop-ups. He did not like to catch pop-ups, and we would do pop-up drills, and he would catch them, but it was like he was catching a medicine ball, and he would joke about it, and it wasn't really funny to us, but we would make sure that people would call him off if they could, because he didn't like to do it. And if you don't like to do something, you're not. It's tough. Yeah. And I don't think Kenny likes to catch pop-ups. I'm speculating there, but. He made a good play on one yesterday. It looked like a good play. But, you go back to that Riverside scenario.
Marincon's up there with a 1-1 count and a half swing. This could be 2. Muno goes to Burns for 1 over to first and not in time. Marincon's runs very well. And when I said this could be 2, I immediately thought, wow, I wish I could take that back because it just wasn't hit very hard and over to third.
Well, you're right. It could have been 2. It wasn't going to be.
Yeah. So McKenna, who reached on the error, is over at third. And with 2 outs, here's Michael Sanderson with Marincon's at first, and the Gauchos up 2-0. Well, I know what you mean, Bob, because it's like anything in life. If you don't like to do it, you probably don't. You're not as proficient in it as you are other things. Sanderson fouled out in his first at bat.
Well, what happens is fear comes into play. As soon as fear rears its ugly head, you're not the same type of athlete that you are when you're confident and ready to go and all that type of stuff.
JJ goes to Burns, and a good job by Nelson to get out of that, because that could have been an inning that really went sideways on him after the error by Corey. But, yeah, Bob, it's interesting because you know better than anybody, being a former head coach here at UCSB, that those are things that you don't see in practice a lot when you're practicing with a Valleca or somebody, the Gauchos in this case with maybe Corey, and extra pop-ups and extra pop-ups and extra pop-ups, and then you think, well, if you're never in your comfort zone, if you're Valleca or Corey or whomever, you can hit 1,000 pop-ups. They're still not in their comfort zone.
Yeah, well, I mean, you can get there. I mean, that's why you do it. That's why you practice. And like I said, there's always something you can work on. And Chris ended up being able to catch him, and he caught him. He never dropped one, in a game or anything like that. But, that's what you work on. And he'll work on it, and he'll get better. And, that's one of the areas he just needs to work on. He's had a great year. But you got to get that mental part of it out there, because, like I said, when fear comes into play, you freeze up. If anybody who's afraid of heights,
you are sitting next to one.
Yeah, so
deathly afraid.
Yeah, so me too. And when you walk by or somebody walks by, your legs quiver and you get faint. Well, I mean, that's not necessarily what happens when you're afraid on the baseball field, but it's not too far from that type of thing. You're just not the same person.
Right. It's a good analogy. Heights, And snakes for me.
As you stand up there.
Food, I have no problem with.
On Mount Jerry.
Here's Billy. And Frederick takes the strike from Howard.
with a lizard hanging right. I shouldn't tell you that if you're afraid of snakes. But
no, lizards I'm fine with.
Oh, okay. Well,
Frederick flew to center in his first.
It's a lizard without legs. How about that?
Yeah, no.
Okay.
No balls and one strike, the 0-1. And that's down 1-1. So Howard really regrouped last inning, Bob, after the Gauchos got him for 2 in the first on 3 hits, and Cal Poly committed an error in that inning. But 1-2-3, and he meant business last inning.
Oh, what you would expect from him, and that's why I said that sometimes those guys come in there and you can get that 2 off them, and that it's happened many a time.
Billy down on the count 1-2. Billy was over 300 for so much of this season, and it's dipped down to 276. There's that overhand curveball. It's only the second time we've seen it. The first time he got Dempsey Grover out on it.
Yeah, Billy's only hitting 246 in conference games, so that's well below his standard, and so I'd expect him to finish strong here.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a credit to Big West pitching, Bob. It's some of the best in the country. Bounding ball to first. Sanderson, what a play behind the bag. Flips in time. And a good stretch that time by Howard. What a play by Sanderson and Howard both. And Howard turned into a first baseman with that stretch.
Yeah, that was a very nice play on what you would think to be a routine ball when it was off the bat, but they were really playing him in that 3-4 hole, and that was Sanderson in the 3-4 hole, not the second baseman. So he had a ways to go and kind of smothered it, and made a very, very nice poised play and made the toss. And, Spencer got over there and made the stretch. I'd almost be interested to see if he stretched his way off that bag, but no arguments from anybody.
Here's Armani Smith, who reached on an error in the first inning. He hits one to second. Ogren's got it and will throw to first in time. Out number 2.
So now there's a ball right there. We talked about this yesterday that Howard wanted to go get, and he thought maybe he could, but he let it go.
Yes, you're right. 100% right, Bob.
Right, and that was the adjustment. That's how what happened yesterday to Connor Roberts with those infield hits, one that he knocked down, and that ended up really hurting him. So he started going. That was the other one. I was going to say, boy, I looked wrong on that one.
No.
That was, this is the play I wanted to see if he stretched off the base.
Here's Bush.
He did not. He almost did. So I'm almost right.
That's a good play all the way around by Sanderson at first on Billy's ball and Howard. Austin doubled off the right field fence and almost hit it out for his 17th home run of the season in the first inning.
Well, that just means he's going to get one some other time.
Well, there was a good challenge fastball from Howard there, and Austin late. 1 ball and 1 strike.
And we talked about this yesterday, how it's so fun to sit there and watch like what Ullman did yesterday, just to pitch the heck out of it, and how fun that is. It's also fun to see a guy at the plate who's just on everything.
Yep.
And is just up there thinking, okay, well, you can't get me out. Go ahead and throw something up here, and I'm going to hit it. That's fun to see as well.
Well, all the scouts here today, Bob, they're certainly Austin's on their radar screen. Has been for a long time. Next pitch down low, 2-1.
But he's just spitting on balls that are close. It's like he's just seeing the ball so well. The ball's coming in there. I'm not swinging at that. So I mean that's how you can tell sometimes when the guy is in a groove a little bit, how he takes pitches.
One inside, 3-1
or 4-1.
Was it 4-1? 4-1. Yeah, good one. That's almost your intentional walk without it being intentional, but you don't get a break with swinging Sammy up here.
Right.
And Sammy had an RBI single in his first at bat. Cohen's got 8 home runs this season. So, but they just don't, at this point in the season, nobody wants to pitch to Austin, and not many want to pitch to Sammy either.
No, let's pick your poison, but right now, the poison's going to kill you on first base.
And Sammy couldn't hold up, nothing in 1. Want to say a special hello to one of our top softball players out here. Johnny is her nickname, and she hit a grand slam the last regular season series out here, and she's awesome.
That was a great series. I was there for that, and the highly rated Cal State Fullerton Titans softball team came in here.
Well, Fullerton won the Big West.
Exactly.
She hits the grand slam against him.
Yes.
I never hit one, but I gave up a few, Bob.
Yeah, well, I'm sure of that. But yeah, that was that was a great game. that was a great game and a great weekend series for the Gauchos.
Yep, they took 2 out of 3. Sammy tomahawks one to Sanderson at first, and that'll do it for the inning. So Sanderson, big part of that defensive shutdown inning for Cal Poly with that great play he made on Billy Fredericks' ball. So we've completed 3 innings here at Cesar Wasaka Stadium. 2-0, UCSB over Cal Poly.
We have Julian in the stage.
Looking to experience the best of Santa Barbara? You know, get a local's take. Montecito Bank and Trust has over 40 years of local expertise, personalized service, and creative financial solutions, plus an unrivaled dedication to the communities we serve. With 10 locations across Santa Barbara and Ventura counties, see how we can be the perfect partner for you and your banking needs. Visit montecito.bank today.
So the grounds crew hard at work out here at Cesar Wasaka Stadium. So too is Kyle Nelson as we go to the 4th inning. 2-0 UCSB. Trying to even the series against Cal Poly at a game apiece after the Mustangs had their way yesterday in an 11-2 win. Here's Nick Meyer. Meyer had a base hit and a stolen base in his only other at bat. That was to lead off the 2nd inning against Nelson, and he's had a good series so far. He pops this one foul. A very good defensive catcher, just like Dempsey Grover. Of course, I find myself saying that a lot, Bob, about not just obviously Grover, but opponents of the Gauchos. And then you have to think you're in the Big West Conference. That all these guys are top notch. One of the best conferences in America. 0-1.
Well, it's a high level of baseball, and every guy needs to be able to do things at a high level. And there's a lot of good players sitting on the bench because the guys out there are doing maybe just a couple extra things that the other guys aren't. And, you know, when you're a parent, when I was a parent, you know, and I still am a parent, but sitting there watching and your kid play, not play, and you just don't always understand everything, but
this is Tommy Jew in center. He'll shade the sun with his glove and makes the catch. Maybe that sun is really a bit of a factor out there as Kenny Corey dropping that one last inning. Maybe a little bit more difficult than we think, Bob.
Well, it's a different position. So center field, yes. Left field, not so much right now. Left second, left third and short. But the right side is a definite. As you know, we're around the 3 o'clock hour, pushing the 3 o'clock hour. As we get more, it goes more and more into right field. The sun for the left side is usually in the mornings.
Here's Elijah Skips, and he powers one high in the air to center. Tommy, again, waiting for this one to come down and makes the catch out number 2.
This is what they call a high skies. And the high sky means there's no clouds up there, so there's nothing to give you some depth perception. So the high skies make it hard for outfielders.
2 outs here in the Cal Poly 4th.
There's also no place for the sun to hide.
No. Scott Ogren at the plate. And Nelly comes inside, almost hit him with that pitch. 1 ball and no strikes. Ogren struck out looking in his first at bat against Nelson. Nelly's got 2 strikeouts. Here's one chopped foul over into the Gaucho dugout. That evens the count at 1 ball and 1 strike. We're in the 4th. 2 runs, 3 hits, 1 error for UCSB. No runs, 3 hits, 1 error for Cal Poly. Tomorrow's game, want to remind everybody once again, Bob, will start at noon, not 1 o'clock as originally scheduled. Backdoor slider stays outside, 2-1. That's because they have this big extravaganza across the street at Harder Stadium, where big stage, lots of bands over there, and that I think gets going at
1 o'clock.
1 o'clock, is it?
Yeah. So we might want to turn our field mic off when they start. The DJs start rolling and speaking languages that maybe not all our fans want to hear.
Exactly. Billy Frederick in left is way over into left center, so a ton of room down the left field line if Ogren can pull one here. And there's a good fastball on the outside corner, 3 balls and 2 strikes. Tommy pretty much straight away, maybe a couple of steps toward right center, and Armani straight away and right. 3 balls and 2 strikes with 2 outs here in the 4th. Nelson's payoff and a chopper back to Kyle. He'll turn and throw to first, throws low, and it goes by Bush. And Bush has to go get it. And down to second goes Ogren. So a throwing error on Kyle Nelson, and that was pretty routine play, Bob. Nelly just, I don't know if he short-armed it or what he did there, but he threw it low, and I think that really handcuffed Austin over there, because as first baseman, you're always on guard for a low throw, but in that situation, I just don't think he's expecting one to be spiked in the dirt like that.
Well, he should be expecting it. As a first baseman, you need to anticipate bad throws. He just threw it from a short distance with some velocity and some sink, because he kind of dropped down a little bit, and those balls that sink like that are hard to pick, because you don't know how the spin is. It's a different spin that you would normally get from an infielder, because he's got arm side run, and that's gonna hop different than a shortstop or a third baseman who should have more of a true hop on their ball or spin.
Morgan hits one to deep right field. Smith going back, and this one is over the fence and gone. A home run, and we're tied at 2. That one ends up under a car or something out there. So the throwing error by Nelly really, really hurts.
Yeah. You're right. It was obviously a very difficult error at this point. And normally, Nelly bows his neck, and it gets out of these things, but he kind of threw that one right down Broadway, and Morgan didn't miss it.
And here is Barrick. So Kevin Morgan with his 3rd home run of the season, and he did a little salute to some of the Cal Poly fans that are here along the first base side before he went into the dugout. Here's a ground ball to second. This should do the Mustangs in for the inning, and it does, but not before Morgan makes the error by Nelson. Really, really hurt with a 2-run homer, and we're all back to, as they say in golf, all square. 2-2 our score. And if you're Kyle Nelson, you got to forget about it. Nothing you can do about the error, nothing you can do about giving up the home run ball. You have to forget it and regroup and go out there for your next inning. Bottom of the 4th coming up. Cal Poly 2, UCSB 2. We'll be right back.
That's not mobile banking.
Deposit checks on the go with the MBNT banking app. This is mobile banking. Download today.
We go to the bottom of the 4th inning. Jerry Fall, Bob Bronsema with you. Tommy Jew, who had an RBI single in his first at-bat, will lead off. 2-2 after Kevin Morgan's home run that tied it. 2 unearned runs allowed by Kyle Nelson because of Nelly's error.
Yeah, there always used to be a debate by some people that...
I know where you're going, that if a pitcher commits the error, it should be earned?
Yes.
Yeah.
And I disagree with it, but that's what that argument used to be, or not. You know, I don't know if they're still making
Discussion or?
it. Yeah, discussion.
And that's another great play by Sanderson at first. He was shaded toward the 4-hole, and Sanderson, just with a tremendous diving effort there, makes the catch out number 1.
Yeah, that was an outstanding play. And the Gauchos are on pitches, you know, not only in the box, but the Gauchos are also calling some pitches from the dugout. So, Howard, you know, he averages 9.7 strikeouts per 9 innings, and he's only got 1 right now, I think. So he hasn't really fooled the Gauchos too much.
JJ takes a strike. JJ flew out to center field in his first at bat. 2 runs, 4 hits, 1 error for Cal Poly. 2 runs, 3 hits, and 2 errors for the Gauchos. There's that big looping curveball. So Morgan is now 1 out of 3 with that curveball. He's thrown it 3 times. He struck Grover out on it, but then the other 2 were high.
But it's in the minds.
Yeah.
And it's in the minds of Dempsey. So sometimes that's what you need to just to give a little bit of extra inch or 2 on your fastball, is someone to think about that other pitch. You know, because he did strike somebody out on it. So it's kind of a show me pitch maybe. Maybe that's why it wasn't listed, or why they didn't tell me about it, because he throws 8 a game.
1 ball and 2 strikes on Muno. And JJ swings at 1 in the dirt and does not get it. That is out number 2.
Well, maybe 9 a game, because that was that pitch right there. It's a slow spin breaking ball that doesn't really get to the plate.
And that was well located.
Yeah, it's a good pitch.
So with 2 outs, here's Kenny Corey batting in the bottom of the 4th in a 2-2 game. Corey rolled out to second base in his first at bat. The outfield, McKenna way over into left center from his center field position. So they're playing Kenny to hit where Kenny likes to hit, opposite field, middle of the field. If he hits one to right center, he can run for a half hour. And over in right field, Barrick is a few steps over toward right center, but there's still a huge gap in right center and a lot of room down the right field line. Howard falls behind, 2 balls and no strikes. Well, Mr. Sanderson brought his glove today over at first base, didn't he?
He did. A couple nice plays.
And now Howard behind in the count, 3 balls and no strikes, with Dempsey on deck. Corey does not have a home run this season. He has 7 doubles and 2 triples and 19 runs batted in. 3-0. That's low, ball 4. So Corey draws a 2-out walk. And let's see if Dempsey can keep the inning going here.
Yeah, that's kind of like a 2-out error. Walk the 8-hitter. Kenny's not your traditional 8-hitter, because he is the leading hitter for the Gauchos in conference play at 362 coming in. So, and he had good at-bats yesterday, and he's hitting well overall. So he's not a traditional 8-hitter, but still a cardinal sin if you're looking at it from Larry Lee's perspective.
Grover pulls one foul off the netting in front of the Gaucho dugout. No balls and 1 strike. Dempsey struck out in his first at bat. We're in the 4th, tied at 2. 2 outs, and Kenny Corey at first base for UCSB. The outfield straight away for Grover, who does have 4 home runs this year. Snap throw to first, and back in is Corey. We saw Nick Meyer do that a few times yesterday, throwing from his knees on that back pick to first, and he really, really has a good arm.
When you have a good arm, you like to show it off. There's people, you know, he knows there's people in the stands that like that type of thing.
That one fouled off, and Grover.
Those people that answer these guys' dreams and
scouts
draft them. And
Grover down in the count, 0-2 here. Now the center fielder McKenna has moved a few steps over toward right center. So there's a very large gap in left center. Dempsey could pull one out there. Corey, if he can get it to the fence, Corey could score from first. And Dempsey just gets a piece to stay alive. 0-2. Corey being held on by Sanderson at first. Kenny not a real big lead. And that one just missed. And that's right where Nick Meyer wanted it. Cutter that time, not far off the outside corner. And Meyer gestured back to Howard saying, nice pitch.
That's what you got to do. When a pitcher does what you need him to do, I mean, it's like Pavlov, man. You have to reward your pitcher or whomever for doing something correct.
Big curve, got him again. So Howard, with that big breaking curveball, gets Dempsey Grover to strike out for the second time in the game. And Howard with a shutdown inning after Morgan hit the 2-run homer to tie it up. We go to the fifth, 2-2, UCSB and Cal Poly here at Cesar Wasaka Stadium.
Looking to experience the best of Santa Barbara? You know, get a local's take. Montecito Bank and Trust has over 40 years of local expertise, personalized service, and creative financial solutions, plus an unrivaled dedication to the communities we serve. With 10 locations across Santa Barbara and Ventura counties, see how we can be the perfect partner for you and your banking needs. Visit montecito.bank today.
You get a look at the Gaucho dugout. Some of the guys with the wet towels over their heads. It's a warm one today. By our standards here in Santa Barbara, 85 degrees is hot. By other standards around the country, they're laughing at us if we're complaining about the heat. So the top of the order for Cal Poly in a 2-2 game as we go to the fifth inning. It'll be Alex McKenna, Bradley Beasley, and Kyle Marincons if anybody reaches Michael Sanderson against Kyle Nelson, who you certainly, if you're the Gauchos, you hope he's got last inning out of his head. As Nelly, with 2 outs, threw the ball away at first base. And that allowed Kevin Morgan to come to the plate, and Morgan belted a home run. Here's the pitch. And that one chopped foul. And that error committed on Scott Ogren's 2-out ground ball. And for Morgan, that was his 3rd home run of the season. I may have said earlier it was his 2nd, but it was his 3rd. No balls and 2 strikes to McKenna. And Nelly going with that backdoor slider, missed in the dirt. 1-2. I've noticed today, Bob, that Nelson many times this year has had a great backdoor slider where he starts it off the outside corner to the right-handed hitters and breaks it over the plate. And today, here's a looper out into center, and that's going to drop for a base hit. So Nelly on a 1-2 pitch got one up to McKenna, and he singles to center. But that backdoor slider just hadn't been there for Nelly today.
Well, yet. I mean, he's thrown a couple. He got Ogren on one early in the 2nd inning, but that's been his best one. And there, that pitch was in well enough, but it was just too up. And that ball's down under his hands. You're not going to have that result, but he'll come in with that backdoor. He'll get it going.
Yeah. No, I just mean as consistently as he's thrown it in games this year. Here is Beasley. Entered the game hitting .317. We're in the 5th, and they're going to have Beasley bunt. That's a good bunt out in front of home plate. Nelson's only play is to first, and they get him. Not by much. Beasley really hustling, and they get him for out number 1.
Well, Larry figuring I'm going to put the ball in the pitcher's hand who just made an error last inning. See if he can get a little something extra, but he realized this point in the game, he wants to get Marincons up there, who's been swinging the bat well with a runner in scoring position.
Marincons 1 for 2 with a base hit today. So the go-ahead run at second in the form of Alex McKenna. Marincons, the sophomore, takes a slider for a strike. Now that's a good pitch by Nelly there. He's thrown some very good sliders to left-handed Mustang hitters today. Ones that break sharply away from them.
But he's got to get it away from him, because if if he front doors some of those are the ones that are going to be hit hard usually.
And that one high. 1 ball and 1 strike. Marincons has 2 home runs this season. He hit his second yesterday in the 8th inning, a 3-run homer. And he's got 28 runs batted in. Hit that one off of Connor Roberts. Out at second is McKenna with 1 out here in the 5th in a 2-2 game. And I'm just not sure that Kyle really felt comfortable throwing anything there. He just wanted to kind of regroup. JJ is behind McKenna, Gaucho shortstop, just trying to keep him close as Kevin Chandler is starting to stretch out down in the Gaucho bullpen down the left field line. 1 ball and 1 strike. And Marincons goes down to get one and fouls it back 1-2.
It's a good swing on a good pitch.
Very good pitch. Good location there by Nelly. The outfield for the Gauchos, pretty much straight away. Although Billy in left is a couple of steps toward left center. We've seen this quite a bit from the Gauchos this year with a move Frederick way off the line. And the 1-2 swung on and missed, and a big time strikeout by Nelson there. And that's out number 2.
Well, that's where he wanted it away. It might have been a little up, but what it did, the up part of that made it look enticing. And so he got on it early, and it just broke too far away. So good pitch with 2 strikes. It was off the plate. Marincons could do nothing with it.
So with 2 outs, here's Michael Sanderson. McKenna out at second, and Sanderson looks at a strike. No balls and 1 strike.
Is Don Ho in the stand somewhere? Because there's some tiny bubbles floating around the field here.
Where do you see the bubbles? Oh, there they are. Okay. No balls and 1 strike. Don Ho, the great Hawaiian singer. Oh, 1 pitch. Foul back, and that time Nelson went with an elevated fastball, and Sanderson, who's 0 for 1 today, had a good rip at it. Michael hitting .329, having a terrific season. He's got 2 home runs, and he is 4th on the Mustangs in doubles this season with 10.
Right, and that pitch just basically sets up this changeup he's going to throw away, or possibly the slider in the dirt.
And here's a ball hit out to right field, short right field. Armani Smith comes in, and Smith makes the catch. And Nelson works around the base hit by McKenna to lead off the inning, and that will do it for Cal Poly. Nice job by Nelly here in the 5th. We go to the bottom of the 5th inning. 2-2, UCSB and Cal Poly game 2 of this Big West Conference Series. We'll be right back.
Looking to experience the best of Santa Barbara? You know, get a local's take. Montecito Bank and Trust has over 40 years of local expertise, personalized service, and creative financial solutions, plus an unrivaled dedication to the communities we serve. With 10 locations across Santa Barbara and Ventura counties, see how we can be the perfect partner for you and your banking needs. Visit montecito.bank today.
There's Bob's house. There you go, Bob Bronsema, former coach here at UCSB and proud to say broadcast partner of yours truly here on Big West TV and UCSBGauchos.com. Bob, as we go to the bottom of the fifth, it'll be the top of the order. Colton Burns, Billy Frederick, and Armani Smith. Burns 0 for 2 with a couple of groundouts. Frederick 0 for 2 with a fly out and a ground out. And Smith 0 for 2, reached on an error and grounded out. And then you get to Bush, who has doubled and walked, if anybody gets on. So Spencer Howard out there with a brand new ball game here after Kevin Morgan hit a 2-run homer off Nelly in the 4th inning. And harken back to what you said in the first inning, Bob, that the Gauchos were scoring 2 runs. They had 3 hits. It was an error as Burns takes high on the 0-1. You alluded to the fact that a guy like Morgan can get hot, a guy like Howard can get hot and stay hot. And so far, you're right, he has settled down. And there's a strike, 1 and 2.
Yeah, you got to get these guys, these big hard throwers, you got to get them early when they haven't really settled into the game. And that's what happened. You know, in Howard's defense, it was unearned run. So, I mean, he didn't really, I mean, if you're into that game, he didn't really give it up, even though he did. But those all are unearned runs, so he could be sitting here throwing a shutout. But the Gauchos took advantage, and got a couple of big hits after the mistakes. So there's that breaking ball again.
Wow, that is something else.
Yeah, so we're gonna have to talk to Teddy Worker.
Yeah, he left something out of the bag on you.
Not only did he give us Ullman's name wrong. We're saying Ullman. He starts calling him some different name.
Ullman or something.
Yeah, Ullman. What are you talking about? Now he's giving me this bad info on these breaking ball.
Well, the pitch that Howard threw before that one was very close. Here's Billy, and he takes high and away. 1 ball and no strikes. Frederick 0 for 2 today, as I mentioned.
I coached Teddy way back when in American Legion baseball, and there's something I did to him that made him want to get back at me, make me look like a fool on national TV here, or whatever this is.
1 ball, no strikes. There's a good fastball in the inside corner for a strike, 1-1. This is on the World Wide Web. The outfield deep and straight away for Cal Poly. 2-2 with 1 out in the Gaucho 5th.
Well, they have the world. Oh, yeah. It's not even.
Oh, Billy just got hit on the right leg. And that one just got away from Howard. Looked like a cut fastball that time, and he just kind of held on to it too long and nails Billy. So 1 out and 1 on. That'll bring up Armani Smith. Smith reached on an error and then grounded out, so he's 0 for 2, but he scored in that first inning after reaching on an error. The Gauchos have committed 2 errors today. Cal Poly has committed 1.
And I don't want to say they're shallow in center because they're not really shallow. That's trouble.
Snap throw to first, and they got it. So Meyer with a quick throw, and we mentioned before he's got an absolute cannon for an arm, and he backpicks Billy there, and that's out number 1. Or check that, out number 2.
Yeah, that wasn't close, actually. It's I was saying that I thought they were playing shallow because I could just envision Armani hitting that ball in that right center gap,
and he bounds one up the middle, and that's into center field for a base hit.
That right center gap between the shortstop and the second baseman is what I was going to say there. But extend the inning and give your guy a chance to make us forget about the pickoff and give the Gauchos a lead. That's a big at-bat right there by Armani Smith.
Huge, because it gets Bush to the plate.
With a runner on, so you're less likely to pitch around him in this situation.
Austin has doubled and walked in the game, almost hit his 17th home run in the first inning when he doubled high off the fence down the right field line. So Armani, who can run, is over at first base with 2 outs. And the pitch down low, 1-0. And even with a runner at first here, Bob, they're still not going to give Austin much to hit, you wouldn't think. But you've got Cohen on deck.
They certainly want to pitch him tough, but yeah, I mean, they got, walking a guy, putting a guy in scoring position, that's a little different story when Cohen leads Big West in slugging percentage.
Yep. like I've always said this season, you do not get any kind of a real break when Swinging Sammy's on deck. Austin had a Herculean cut at that last pitch.
If I'm a scout, this is what I want to see. I'm here, I want to see this guy handle this fastball in this situation. I want to see what the pitcher's doing. I want to see what the hitter's doing. This is going to tell me something about these guys.
Wow. That was a challenge fastball, and he threw it right by Austin, 1-2.
Yeah, on that pitch. So, yeah, tip your hat on that one. Now he's got another one to work with. So, but this is a battle. This is what you come to the game for. You want to see this type of thing. You're the coaches. You want to see what your guys are made of here.
1 ball and 2 strikes with Smith at first. Here's the pitch. And that one is hit high in the air to deep right center field. Way back, and gone. A home run for Austin Bush. You want to see it, Bob? You just saw it.
And he threw the changeup, sped him up, and Austin made him pay for it.
4-2 Gauchos on the 17th home run of the season by Austin Bush. Career home run number 31. And they're ready to run bomb him in the dugout.
So you go back, big at bat by Armani Smith to get Austin up in that situation, and they threw the changeup. He blew a couple fastballs by him. If you're going to throw that changeup, you probably want to throw it in the dirt or something. Yeah. But he threw it where he could hit it, and he hit it where they couldn't catch it.
Sammy unable to hold up on the swing here as Dowdy, the third base umpire, said he went too far, 0-1. And it didn't even look, to just give you an idea of how strong Austin Bush is, folks, the sound off the bat, it didn't even sound like he got all barrel. He may have gotten that one. Certainly he had enough barrel on it, Bob, but it may have been down toward the
trademark.
Yeah.
If they would use that on an aluminum bat.
Sammy takes a fastball for a strike. Wherever it hit on the bat, it just didn't have that sound that I've heard from Austin's home runs, a lot of them this season. And he still got it out of here to right center as Barrick climbed the fence as much as he could, but it was gone. 1-2 to Sammy, and that's a good breaking pitch, and Cohen strikes out. So that'll do it for the Gauchos, but not before 2 runs on Austin Bush's 17th home run of the season. And we've completed 5 innings here at Cesar Wasaka Stadium. 4-2 UCSB over Cal Poly.
That's not mobile banking.
Deposit checks on the go with the MBNT banking app. This is mobile banking. Download today.
There it is, Austin Bush golfing it, Bob, and hitting it a long way to right center. Barrick went as high as he could, but couldn't get it. And Bush with his 17th home run of the season.
He's just on fire.
Just locked in.
It's fun to watch.
Yep. Well, certainly one of the most prolific power hitters in the history of UCSB baseball. Bob had a few of them. And here is Nick Meyer with the Gauchos up 4-2 here in the 6th, and Kyle Nelson back out there. Outfield straight away for Meyer, and he swings at the first pitch and hits a fly ball to center field. Easy play for Tommy Jew, and Tommy under it makes the catch, out number 1. So Meyer first pitch swinging. That's a big out for Nelly. After the big bopper hit one out. So Meyer today 1 out of 3. Here is Elijah Skips, who has struck out and flown out to center.
Well, that's what you love to see in the Gaucho dugout, is 1 pitch, 1 out, and your shutdown inning.
Nelly with the front door slider. Good pitch for a strike. 0-1. Both teams with 5 hits. Gauchos lead it 4-2. UCSB has also committed 2 errors. Cal Poly has committed 1. Nelly's 0-1, and that one off the end of the bat, and that'll drop into center field for a base hit in front of Tommy Jew. So Elijah Skips has his first hit of the game.
Yeah, but this is what I love about Kyle Nelson is that he smells things, right? I mean, he's smelling the shutdown inning, and he's attacking the zone, and that wasn't a bad pitch. As a matter of fact, they're checking the ball to see if there's any blood on it, and there is, so they're throwing it away.
I wonder, the umpire out there, Bob, checking that ball was Adam Dowdy. It was hit so much off the end of the bat where the plastic end of the bat meets the BB core material, and I just wonder if he actually cut that ball a little bit, like you and I do with a golf ball sometimes.
Yeah. He looked at it for a while, so I don't think it was cut, but it probably had enough of a scuff on it to make it throwaway worthy.
So here is Ogren. Scott struck out and reached on an error and scored ahead of Morgan's 2-run homer in this game. And there's a good slider on the inside corner for a strike from Nelly. 1-1. The outfield, again, Billy Frederick way off the line and left, out into deep left center field. Tommy Jew playing over toward right center, and Armani straight away and right. So they're playing Ogren to hit the other way in the outfield. The infield, double play depth up the middle with Muno at short and Burns at second. Now throw over.
We got a shot there of Kevin Chandler warming up in the bullpen.
Kevin missed the series last weekend at Cal State Fullerton. Just some arm discomfort. Did not pitch against USC on Wednesday, so he's well rested. 1 ball, 1 strike to Ogren. And a good fastball from Nelson, climbing the ladder there, 1-2.
I might come up with some arm discomfort next week. Maybe I can miss a few days from work, come back real fresh next week.
Who would you have to sell on that one?
My wife. She wouldn't want me home. You kidding me?
1-2, and this one hit a mile to left field, and this may tie the game. Back, and it's off the wall. Rounding third and coming in is Skips, and holding it second with a 2-out double is Ogren, who had a good game yesterday and contributes in a big way for the Mustangs right here.
Yeah, it's unfortunate that that ball bounced as far away from Billy as it did because they had a chance to keep that runner from scoring. And I'm not sure Skips if the ball bounces more towards Billy or he plays that off the wall a little bit more.
It looked like Billy ran too close to the wall there, Bob.
Yeah, he probably he wasn't going to catch that, so he probably should have. You know, it's hard to fault the hustle, but
sure.
You have to understand what you can and can't do, and I don't think he was going to catch that ball. So I'm not sure. I'm being idealistic here, but if he could have played that a little bit better off the wall, I'm pretty sure that Skips doesn't score on that.
That is Ogren's 6th double of the season, his 19th run batted in, and this is Morgan up here, 1 for 2 with a 2-run homer in this game. And he takes high, 2 balls and no strikes, and now Dempsey's going to go out and talk to Kyle Nelson with the tying run at second base and 2 outs. So Nelly has given up all of his runs today, all 3 of them with 2 outs.
Yeah, it's uncharacteristic. He hasn't been able to shut down some of these innings, but that one was his own error, and then 1 bad pitch to this young fella right here.
It was Morgan's 3rd home run of the season in the 4th inning. 2 balls, no strikes. And there's a good fastball for a strike, 2-1. Good location at the knees on the outer part of the plate. Morgan is a .252 hitter coming into the game. 1 out of 2 today, as I mentioned, with the home run. Chandler continuing to throw in the Gaucho bullpen with 1 out. here in the 6th. 4-3 UCSB.
Yeah, the left-handers have had good swings off Nelly today. It's unusual.
Here's another one, and that one hit into right field. A base hit. Armani Smith charges and will come up throwing to the plate, and safe at the plate is Ogren, and we are tied at 4. Ogren made a great slide to the, looked like the back of the plate, Bob.
Yeah, it was a great slide, and I got to assume he got the back of the plate because, or else he wouldn't have called them safe. Gauchos caught a little break in there that.
And Checkets is out to talk to the home plate umpire about it.
I think he snuck it in there. But Morgan should have gone to second base on that play, so the Gauchos caught a little bit of a break that he didn't go to second, and had another runner in scoring position. But once again, the left-handers have gotten good swings off Nelly today, and
Morgan in particular has driven in 3 of the 4 runs. So good throw by Armani.
Yes, it was.
And here is Colby Barrett.
You know,
Barrett 1 out of 2 with a base hit.
Excuse me, Jerry. Half the hits for the Mustangs today have been from left-handed hitters.
And Barrett looks at a strike here, nothing in 1.
And there's just 3 of them in the lineup.
Barrett with a base hit in the 3rd inning, batting 9th in the lineup. He also grounded out to 2nd. Well, Kevin Morgan has been absolutely clutch in the 8-hole for Cal Poly today. We're right back to a tie ball game, 4-4. Showing bunt again here, and that brought Kenny Corey crashing in from 3rd, but the pitch misses up and away, 1-1. Good effort by Dempsey. Grover on the throw too,
yeah,
Bob.
everything was good. I mean, the throw was good. You know, maybe in the olden days when you could block the plate, he might have been able to plant himself there a little bit better. But you know, you got to give the guy a space, so he had to give a little bit. And maybe the olden days you might have been able to block the plate on him, but nothing you could do. It was good slide, good throw. Everything was good. The only thing I'm still ticked or glad for the Gauchos, but ticked if I was Larry, is why my hitter is still on first base when that ball cleared Austin Bush's head. And just on principle, you got to go to second base on that. You want them to cut that ball if they can, which I don't think they could, just to redirect that and get in a rundown so you're sure that run scores.
Ball was hit hard by Morgan, by Austin. And the pitch with the runner going is fouled behind the plate, and it's 2-2. So first time in the at-bat here that Barrick has not shown bunt with 1 out. Larry Lee, before he got to Cal Poly, this is his 15th year. 16 years at Cuesta College, the junior college up in San Luis Obispo, and Larry did a fantastic job there and has done a terrific job with Cal Poly.
And I'd heard that they're considering changing the name of the town to San Luis Obispo.
There's a pitch high.
He's such a legend up there.
Well,
as was his dad.
Yes. I'll tell you a story. Talking to Teddy a couple of years ago. Teddy Walker, former Santa Barbara High superstar, and went to the University of Arizona. Now a coach with Larry Lee. Full counts, so Nelly will move over. I said, you know, I said to him, I said, Coach, you know, he's been up there a long time. Teddy's remark was, yeah, long enough to buy half the town. And I said, what are you talking about?
Good thing.
And he said, oh. He said, let me just put it this way. Larry doesn't need the gig. And I said, wait a minute, expound a little bit more. And he said, Larry has done very well with property purchases and commercial and residential. And he and his brother, I guess, Larry's brother, they've done quite well up there. And a very nice man. 3 balls and 2 strikes. Bush playing a little bit behind Morgan at first. And this one is tomahawked foul over near Bob Bronsema's house down the right field line. And the count remains full at 3-2. Well, the Gauchos certainly lucky to have Andrew Checkets, who's gotten the team to 3 regionals, 1 super regional, and 1 College World Series in 5 years. 3 balls and 2 strikes. Gauchos have to figure out a way to score some more runs now that they're tied. There goes the runner. The pitch is blooped foul over behind the first base dugout. I'm actually not sure how Barrick is able to hit pop-ups like the last two on pitches like that, where he just turns on it, pops it straight foul, but pulls it like that.
Well, he's got a little hook in that swing, and that pitch is up, and he's really kind of hook barreling it, trying to pull it through that hole, it appears.
Nelly shakes off Grover here, wants another sign. 3-2, runner going again, strike three, throw to second, and that one is high, and stealing second base is Morgan. Good pitch by Nelly to get the strikeout, but Morgan steals second base with 2 outs.
Well, they weren't really holding him there, so he was able to get maybe a little bit better jump.
The top of the order.
That'll bring up McKenna.
Gauchos might have caught a little break on that call.
And here comes Matt Harvey out of the third base dugout, the Gauchos pitching coach, and maybe all for Nelly here with Kevin Chandler, the right-hander, loose in the bullpen. And, yep, that's going to be it for Nelly as Harvey's going to take the ball from him. And Kyle, just a gritty effort again. Kyle just grinds and grinds and grinds, but it was that 6th inning last week at Fullerton, Bob, where Nelly got into trouble and gave up the 4 runs, and here he gives up 2 runs in this 6th inning and will leave responsible for Morgan at second base. He leaves with 2 outs, and Kevin Chandler on to pitch for UCSB. And we'll take a break, and when we return, we'll give you some of Kevin's numbers. There you see that the effort today of Kyle Nelson. Threw a lot of good pitches, but Cal Poly, a good hitting club, Bob. They can make you pay for some pitches that aren't so good. So we'll take a break and hear from Montecito Bank and Trust as you see Matt Harvey coming off the mound. The Gauchos and Cal Poly tied at 4 here in the 6th with 2 outs, and the Mustangs have Kevin Morgan at second representing the go-ahead run. We'll be right back.
That's not mobile banking.
Deposit checks on the go with the MBNT banking app. This is mobile banking. Download today.
And it really gets out of town in a hurry against right-handed hitters, and when he's throwing it well, he just buries it into left-handed hitters.
Yeah, and the fact that he's picked up some velocity is going to help that slider. If you're good sliders are good no matter what, but if you're throwing 82 with a good slider, it's just not going to be as good as if you're throwing 86, 87, 88. So for a lot of reasons, but he's picked up that velocity, and he's been very good for the Gauchos. He's been kind of the steady guy out of that pen, and the guy they want to get to or go to in situations like this with the game on the line, not in a closed situation.
So Chandler all set to work to Alex McKenna here. In a 4-4 game with Kevin Morgan out at second base. Morgan has had a terrific day. He's driven in 3 runs, a 2-run homer, and an RBI single to right field here in this inning. McKenna struck out, bounced into a fielder's choice, and singled, so he's 1 out of 3. And Chandler misses with the slider here. Cal Poly dugout is making a lot of noise, looking in the direction of the Gaucho dugout when they do it. Or maybe looking in the direction of McKenna, but that looking over at the Gaucho dugout, they're kind of perplexed.
As am I. dugout shenanigans, never really one of my favorites as a coach. Loved it when I was a player.
There's a slider that misses 2-0.
So when I was a player, you could say bad things and get rewarded for it. Now you can't be mean or say anything mean or funny, actually, is really what it is, because you get in trouble for that. So now they just do goofy things, and I hated them as a coach.
And that one catches the outside corner. McKenna didn't think so. 2 balls and 1 strike. Chandler working away from McKenna, who has 5 home runs this season and 11 doubles. Outstanding hitter, hitting .363 coming into the game.
There's that pitch, Jerry, and probably off the plate, but college strike.
Good job by Dempsey to frame it. 2 balls and 1 strike. Yeah, that fastball missed away, so it's 3-1. First base is open with Kevin Morgan at second. But you don't get much of a picnic with the guy on deck, Bradley Beasley, hitting .317 this season.
No, but McKenna still is the guy. This guy, you know, when you start the series, you say, who do you not want to beat you? And McKenna would probably be at the top of the list. And, he started the season in the 3-hole. And since they put him in the leadoff spot, they've kind of taken off. So he battled the walk there.
So McKenna at first. Morgan holds his position at second with 2 outs, and Beasley will come up.
Number 5, Bradley Beasley.
Not to mention McKenna's hit .418 with runners in scoring position. So
Yes.
that was wise pitching, wise decision, I think, by the Gauchos.
Beasley 0 for 2 with a sacrifice bunt, and again Chandler misses outside. So Kevin struggling to find the strike zone here in the 6th in a 4-4 game with 2 outs. He has thrown 6 pitches, 5 have missed.
Yeah, but he's pitching around McKenna, and that ball was just off the plate. So, so not making too much out of that. So, like I said, I thought it was a good decision. But, as we say, good decisions are the ones that work.
There's a good fastball for a strike, 1-1.
So he's got his bull's neck right here and get Bradley Beasley out with some good pitches. And both those pitches were quality pitches, one just off the plate and one on the black. So
Colton Burns, the Gauchos second baseman, shaded toward the bag to keep Morgan honest out there, not let Kevin get too big of a lead. And the next pitch is a fly ball to right field, and this should do it for the inning. Armani Smith under it, makes the catch. Nice job by Chandler to work out of the inning there, but not before Cal Poly scores 2 runs to tie the game, and we go to the bottom of the 6th inning here at Cesar Wasaka Stadium. All tied again, 4-4 our score. Spencer Howard will take the ball for the bottom of the 6th, and we'll be back here in just a moment on Big West TV and UCSBGauchos.com.
Looking to experience the best of Santa Barbara? Get a local's take. Montecito Bank and Trust has over 40 years of local expertise, personalized service, and creative financial solutions, plus an unrivaled dedication to the communities we serve. With 10 locations across Santa Barbara and Ventura counties, see how we can be the perfect partner for you and your banking needs. Visit montecito.bank today.
So Howard out there to begin his 6th inning of work. He has done very well today, Howard has, with the exception of giving up 2 runs in the 1st inning and making a mistake to Austin Bush in the 5th when Bush hit a 2-run homer. And it'll be Tommy Jew, J.J. Muno, Kenny Corey, 6, 7, and 8, beg your pardon, if anybody gets on Dempsey Grover. Tommy had an RBI single in the 1st and lined out to first his next at bat.
that Bush home run was a great part of this game. I loved it.
Yeah, loved it in front of the scouts too. So they can really.
It's just straight up old school baseball and power versus power. And
you realize Bush now, Bob, has homered. He has hit 7 home runs in his last 7 games. Tommy swings and fouls this one down the right field line. 0-2. That's remarkable.
If they had 1,000 games left, he'd be on pace to hit 1,000 more home runs. Just some of the math I learned when I was a student at UCSB.
Very good.
Thank you very much.
Much better than my Chico State math.
They
Fastball
said,
outside.
they told me, you know, you really don't use math when you get out of school, but there I just used it right there.
You know what I didn't use when I got out of school? PE, unfortunately. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Howard going with that breaking ball. Let's see, Bob, if Spencer, he's got a very, very good curveball, and early in this game he didn't show it much, but he's thrown it a lot more over the last couple of innings. And
yeah, he's going to it, and it's kind of been a strikeout pitch for him. Surprised he didn't break it out on Bushy. He went with that changeup, and Bush changed it into a couple runs.
Ogren's got it. We'll wait for his first baseman to get to the bag, and that is Sanderson, out number 1.
Don't let me ever call Austin Bush again Bushy. If I ever do that, just take the microphone from my mouth.
Well, if he's all right with it, I'm all right with it.
Well, don't tell him I said that.
I won't. Here's Muno, flew out to center and struck out. So JJ looking to get a base hit. JJ, entering this series, was hitting .312 over his last 22 games. And he takes a strike here on the outside corner, 0-1. So Muno has really been swinging a hot bat. The Mustangs give him a big gap in right center and a lot of room down the right field line. Muno drag bunt, and Howard will have it and flip in time to Sanderson, out number 2. So right idea by JJ, just the execution not quite there for him. I think what he was trying to do on that drag, Bob, obviously was get it by Howard. And if you can get it by the pitcher and make the second baseman field it with JJ's speed, you got a base hit a lot of times.
Yeah, and one of the things you see when you're evaluating whether you're not to push or not, when Howard falls off the mound, he actually has his back to third base and he's facing first base. Those guys are much more difficult to push on. You have to be more exact on guys that are facing that way, because he just got off the mound like it was nothing and made it look like it was nothing. So that's one of the things you got to evaluate when you're pushing. You have to be more exact on a guy like that.
Cal Poly outfield playing Corey to hit the other way, and he's down on the count, 0-2. As McKenna in center field, shaded over toward left center, enormous gap in right center, and pretty good room down the right field line for Corey.
Kenny had a nice hack at that one. He's going to see that one in his sleep.
Yeah.
Just missed it.
0-2, and that's a fastball low from Howard. I see some guys down in the right field bullpen, Bob, but nobody throwing as of yet. Here's the pitch, and Corey bounces one over the mound. Ogren's got it and will take his time, throw to first in time, and another 1-2-3 inning here for Howard, who has just been dialed in. Gave up a couple of runs on 3 hits in the first inning, and then made a mistake to Bush and gave up a 2-run homer in the 5th. But outside of that, Bob, he's been the pitcher that his numbers would indicate this season, 6-1 with a 2.24 ERA. He's been very, very good. And the Gauchos, since the first inning, only have 2 hits off him. That'll do it for the Gauchos here in the 6th. We go to the 7th, all tied, 4-4, as Chandler begins his second inning of work. We'll be right back.
That's not mobile banking.
Deposit checks on the go with the MBNT banking app. This is mobile banking. Download today.
Jack Kuzma, as we just heard Eric Evelhawk, our terrific public address announcer, just made us all aware that Jack Kuzma, the new third baseman last half inning for Cal Poly, so he'll bat in the number 2 spot. Kuzma actually came in yesterday's game and played shortstop for Marincons. And that's who's up right now, Kyle Marincons. So Jack Kuzma will be batting second in the Cal Poly lineup and playing third. 4-4 as we go to the 7th inning, and Chandler out there. And the first pitch is looped out into left field, and that's going to drop in front of Billy for a base hit. So Marincons continues to swing a hot bat in this series for Cal Poly. He's the leadoff man on here in the 7th inning. And for Marincons, that's his second hit of the game, and here is Sanderson, the cleanup man, Bob. And in this situation, Sanderson, a lot of power. He's 0 for 3 today, and we saw Larry Lee sacrifice earlier in this game. Let's see if he has Sanderson do it again as Dempsey Grover steps out in front of home plate to flash signs for a bunt defense. Kenny Corey right at the edge of the grass at third.
I'm going to say he's not going to bunt him. He does have 3 sacrifice bunts on the year.
Yep. Well, let's see what Larry Lee decides to do here with Marincons at first in a 4-4 game in the 7th.
Now he's got a guy he loves on deck, so.
And the Gauchos pitch out, and nothing on there with Sanderson. On deck is Nick Meyer, hot-hitting catcher for the Mustangs.
So what you're evaluating here is, will they walk Nick Meyer, who's been hot, and who coach likes. So I asked him who he'd want up in the, with a big run on second base, and he said probably Meyer, or actually he said Sanderson. And then he saw Sanderson hitting 265 with runners in scoring position. He said, well, oops.
Sanderson 0 for 3 today. 4-4 here in the 7th. The Mustangs have out hit the Gauchos 9-5 today. And there's a ball rifled down the right field line. That one hits the roof of the Bob Bronsema Player Development Facility and eventually should roll off the roof. And it didn't.
No, it stays in the gutters, and I go collect those.
No, you don't go up there.
No, I do not.
I'll bet you could find a whole bunch of balls up there, though.
Yeah, they're pretty wet and ugly.
1 ball and 1 strike. Marincons over at first base. He's 2 for 3 in stolen bases this season. Gauchos double play depth around the infield. There's a pitch, and that's high, 2-1. Since Sanderson has not shown bunt, Corey has moved back at third. He was even with the grass when Sanderson came to the plate, but now he's even with the bag.
And I think Larry likes hit and run, but I'm not sure he would hit and run this situation. Gauchos want to test the runner, see if we get a flinch out of him so they pick, seeing the runner will tip the steal, which he shouldn't do if it's a hit and run.
Marincons does not have a big lead at first, and again, Chandler throws over. Kevin trying to keep him close in the event that it is a hit and run, and if Sanderson hits one on the ground to an infielder, you have a better chance at a double play if the runner doesn't have a big jump off of first, obviously. 2 balls and 1 strike. And this one popped foul. Good fastball by Chandler, climbing the ladder on Sanderson there. 2-2. Well, I get that you want to keep the runner close at first, Bob, but sometimes I wonder if a base runner can really distract a pitcher. Obviously he can, and you've got to make sure that you don't lose Sanderson here, or else you really have a hole. 2-2, slider, and this one hit weakly off the end of the bat, foul.
Well, that all depends on this athlete, the student athlete you're dealing with. Are they easily distracted? Relievers, they've been doing this game. Kevin's pitching a lot of games. He's not going to be distracted. He just knows that he's going to do what the coach puts down or what Dempsey puts down. And he's just going to do it.
Sanderson fouls the next one back, and the count remains 2-2.
If he puts down a pick, okay, I'll pick. I'm not worried about it. And he puts down the slider in the dirt right here, I'll go throw that slider in the dirt. You can ask for a fastball up, I'll throw that. So the focus on these guys are better. not a lot of weak-minded guys out there. But there are some things that can distract hitters. As a matter of fact, guys jumping off, at second base sometimes distract hitters. Stealing third base when you're a hitter. Sometimes hitters don't like that. It's more of a distraction for hitters sometimes than it is to pitchers.
2 balls and 2 strikes. Marin Cons leads from first in a 4-4 game here in the 7th. Sanderson up there. And that one spiked. Good block by Grover, and it's a full count. Elliott Stewart down in the first base coaching box, who made the nice bare hand pick on that foul ball a moment ago for Cal Poly. And the boss, Larry Lee, over at third. Gauchos, in the bottom of the 7th inning, will have 9-1-2. And there goes the runner, and the pitch is popped a mile in the air out into short left field. Who's going to take it? It looks like JJ. And Muno makes the catch for out number 1. Good job by Chandler to get a dangerous hitter there on the hit and run. Actually, probably more of a steal. You've got to be swinging with 2 strikes.
Run and hit would
run
be
and hit be another way. Meyer 1 for 3 with a base hit. Meyer has a home run this season. Actually, yep, 1 home run for Meyer this season. And there goes the runner on the hit and run. That one hits Chandler, and caroms off to Muno. Muno can't make a play. That'd be a base hit all the way. Meyer actually golfed at a pitch that was very low.
That was a hit and run, so he had to swing. And unfortunate for the Gauchos is Kevin ended up in bad fielding position and was with his fanny pointed to the hitter, so he couldn't field it. They couldn't do anything but have it hit his butt, because if that ball gets through, we're going to have a middle infielder on the bag right there waiting for that ball and turning that into a double play. So that's a break for the Mustangs right there.
Here's Elijah Skips, who's 1 out of 3 with a base hit and a run scored. So Marin Cons at second. And Sanderson at first. And this one is hit to deep center field. Back goes Tommy, still going back. And Jew's going to get there and make the catch right in front of the wall. And the runners went halfway, so they'll get back to first and second. Terrific play by Tommy. He got a great jump again, Bob, and made that play as Skips hit that one a long way.
Yeah, he made that look easy. That's a good job out there. He has all year. And I don't believe he's a natural center fielder. Right? He was an infielder, I believe, in high school. And of course, we all know that infielders can do anything on the field that they want.
So here's Ogren, who has a run-scoring double, almost hit it out his last time up. And he takes a slider low and away, 1 ball and no strikes. Ogren had that double last inning off the left field wall. First and second with 2 outs. And he swings and hits one to deep left center field. Tommy again on the run, and he won't get it. This one off the fence. 1 run is in, and here's the second run coming in to score, and Cal Poly has a 6-4 lead.
Well, Ogren has just come up big back-to-back innings, taking advantage of the ball up in the zone, and he just punished it.
So that'll bring up Kevin. That will bring up Kevin Morgan, who has killed the Gauchos today with a 2-run homer and an RBI single. So Ogren has certainly done his part. That ball just carried too far for Tommy.
And that's a teammate versus teammate, high school teammate, I believe. I would assume that they played together. And
there's a strike, no balls and 1 strike. 6-4 Cal Poly here in the 7th inning. Mustangs out hitting the Gauchos 11-5.
Tommy got another good jump on that, but that was just too well hit. The Gauchos almost caught a break. I thought that might have hopped over the fence, but Tommy got that on a bare hand, and that's going to dunker.
There's one down the left field line, and that's going to score another run. Billy Frederick was way off the line, and that one rolls under the fence, and that's fortuitous for UCSB, because had that one stayed in play, then I think Morgan may have had 3. As far as Billy Frederick was shaded over into left center field, and Morgan runs well, and Morgan has driven in his 4th run of the game. He has a 2-run homer and 2 RBI singles. But Bob, as that one goes under the gate down there, I really think that saved the Gauchos from that being 3.
I think you're right. It did save them a base, but that was the least of the Gauchos' concerns right now. They need a stop right here, and they're going to go to the pen.
Yep, here comes Matt Harvey, and that'll be all for Chandler. And it's going to be Shea Berry, who was warming up down there, coming in. So the Gauchos in trouble now, trailing 7-4. Cal Poly had a big 8th inning yesterday with 4 runs. They've had a very big 7th inning here with 3 runs to break a 4-4 tie. And Shea Berry on for UCSB. And we'll give you Shea's numbers in a moment when we return. 7-4, Cal Poly with the lead.
Looking to experience the best of Santa Barbara? You know, get a local's take. Montecito Bank and Trust has over 40 years of local expertise, personalized service, and creative financial solutions, plus an unrivaled dedication to the communities we serve. With 10 locations across Santa Barbara and Ventura counties, see how we can be the perfect partner for you and your banking needs. Visit montecito.bank today.
So Shea Berry has come on for the Gauchos, the 3rd pitcher used today by Matt Harvey and Andrew Checketts. Berry 1-1 with a 5.28 earned run average. He's making his 22nd appearance. 29 innings pitched, 15 strikeouts, 13 walks, and opponents hitting .281 against Berry. Shea, the Gauchos closer, has 5 saves, but obviously with Cal Poly leading 7-4 and 2 outs here in the 7th, this is not a save situation, so they would love nothing more than to be able to rally and get Berry his 2nd win of the season.
That's right. Well, it's not a save situation, but it's a keep us where we're at
yes,
situation,
exactly.
Which ultimately could save the day. So he needs to save this inning and get the Gauchos in here so they can, get some base runners on, get Austin up again, and get this thing even.
So Morgan at 2nd. His 3rd hit of the game and his 4th run driven in with that double down the left field line. I think I said before, I was mistaken there, Bob. Morgan with, I said 2 singles. He's got a single and a double and a home run, so he's a triple away from the cycle. And Colby Barrick, the number 9 hitter in the Cal Poly lineup, will come to the plate here with 2 outs.
And most of these guys in the Mustang lineups have had 3 at-bats in the last 4 innings.
So Josh George is going to pinch run for Kevin Morgan and undoubtedly will stay in the game to play left field. George started in left and played yesterday's game. Here's Barrick, and that went off the glove of Dempsey Grover to the backstop. And over to 3rd goes Morgan. I checked that, George. It was a pass ball on Dempsey. Seven to 4 Cal Poly here in the 7th. And Berry trying to keep it right where it's at with 2 outs. Barrick takes low, 2-0. Barrick singled in the 3rd, bounced out to 2nd in the 4th, struck out looking in the 6th. So he's 1 for 3. this one chopped over into the Mustang dugout. 2 balls and 1 strike. Top of the order, Alex McKenna on deck. And this one hit hard on the ground to the right side. Colton Burns has it on the edge of the outfield grass and throws Barrick out. So nice job by Shea Berry to get out of the inning as we go to the bottom of the 7th, stretch time. Cal Poly, with 3 runs in the top of the 7th, has taken a 7-4 lead over the Gauchos. And for UCSB in the bottom of the 7th, as I mentioned earlier, it'll be Dempsey Grover, Colton Burns, Billy Frederick, 9, 1, and 2. If anybody gets on, Armani Smith against Spencer Howard as we go to the bottom of the 7th here at Cesar Wasaka Stadium.
That's not mobile banking.
Deposit checks on the go with the MBNT banking app. This is mobile banking. Download today.
Here you see Jack Kuzma, number 20, giving the ball to Spencer Howard. Howard out there for the 7th inning. His 7th inning of work in this one. And he's got a 3-run lead. Cal Poly 7 runs, 12 hits, 1 error. UCSB 4 runs, 5 hits, and 2 errors. And Dempsey Grover leading off here in the bottom of the 7th inning. He's 0 for 2, and Grover fouls the first pitch back to the screen. No balls and 1 strike. Dempsey has struck out twice against Spencer Howard today. But Bob, as you pointed to during the break there, that ball going under the fence actually saved the Gauchos a run.
Yes, it did. After that pass ball, that would have scored him. And so that's a plus.
Inside.
That's a plus. And Shea kept us where we needed to be. And, that's a running inning to get back into this thing.
Dempsey trying to get it going here against Howard. No balls and 2 strikes. And there's a fastball outside, 1 and 2. Howard has been consistently in the low 90s with his fastball today. He's topped out at 95.
But this is where he's throwing that breaking ball down in the dirt here.
Just like that. And that time Dempsey laid off. Good job by Grover, 2 and 2.
And that was good discipline because, it's a fool me once deal on that one. He wasn't going to go fishing again. But then you're also susceptible here to a fastball up.
McKenna, the center fielder, shaded way over into right center. Here's the pitch. Check swing. Did he go too far? He did, says first base umpire Kellen Levy, and that's out number 1. So Grover has struck out 3 times today. That'll bring up the top of the order, Colton Burns.
Second baseman.
So Dempsey tried to hold up, couldn't do it.
Well, you can see why the scouts are here, to see Howard. There's some projectability in this, and the guy has kind of come on out of nowhere, and so he's probably got some upslide in that arm because he hasn't pitched that much. And he's gotten better and better.
Here's Burns, who's 0 for 3, a couple of groundouts and a strikeout. Seven to 4, Cal Poly here in the bottom of the 7th inning, and Howard shakes off Meyer. And he delivers low, 2-0. Spencer goes behind the mound here, grabs that rosin bag, and just gathers his thoughts. That's what good pitchers do, Bob. No reason to rush the game if he doesn't want to. 2-0. That's outside, 3-0. We've got, looks like a left-hander throwing in the Cal Poly bullpen. I'm not sure if he's playing short toss. I just can't see from where we are down there. Here's the 3-0. And that's high, ball 4, so Burns walks with 1 out. That'll bring up Billy Frederick.
So that's a little red light to the Cal Poly bench that wasn't overly close on a lot of those. So I think they'll be watching him closely right here. I don't know what his pitch count is, but we'll see how he responds from that at bat to this one.
Frederick has flown out, grounded out, and been hit by a pitch, so he's 0 for 2. And Billy takes a strike, 0-1. Armani Smith on deck, and the Gauchos would love to be able to get to Austin Bush in this inning. Bush has a 2-run homer in this game, his 17th home run of the season and 31st of his Gaucho career. Oh, 1. Just outside, 1-1. That was close. One out, 1 on for the Gauchos here in the 7th, who trail by 3. Colton being held on by Sanderson, and the pitch, Billy fouls it off to the left, and it's 1-2. Billy asking the home plate umpire there, Travis Katzenmeyer, if he swung at a ball or a strike. Well, again, to repeat, as well as Spencer Howard has done today, he gave up 2 runs on 3 hits in the first inning. The Gauchos only have 2 hits since, and we're in the 7th. There's that curveball Billy lays off, 2-2.
So big pitch right here.
Yep.
And a big at bat. You have a guy that could be tiring a little bit. And you have a guy with good discipline at the plate. Move the ball around a little bit.
2-2 to Frederick, and a changeup swung on and missed, and that is out number 2. That's a tremendous pitch by Howard.
Yes, it was, and a guy that's tough to strike out, and he just made a great pitch in that situation.
Number 4, Armani.
So with 2 outs, here's Armani Smith, and Austin Bush moves into the on-deck circle for the Gauchos. If Austin can get up in this inning, or could
they won't
get up,
pitch to him.
No, they won't, but he would represent the tying run.
And then he would represent the tying run on first base because they would pitch around him.
And then you got Cohen. And Armani looks at a breaking ball in the inside corner, 0-1. Smith today reached on an error and scored in the first inning, bounced to second in the 3rd, singled and scored in the 5th. Burns it first with 2 outs, and Armani showed bunt, takes a strike. Changeup that time on the outside corner, 0-2.
Didn't look like Armani liked that.
I don't think he did.
He said, "You didn't really call that strike, did you?" He said, no, seriously, I asked you, did you call that a strike?
It didn't seem like he was believing Katzenmeyer's first answer he gave him.
Yeah, well, I think Andrew just came out and wanted to know, was that on the bunt attempt or was on the call? And he said it was on the call, so Andrew walked back in.
0-2, the 0-2, here it comes in the dirt, and a nice block by Meyer. 1-2.
I think in that situation you want to anticipate ball in the dirt, and that might have been a ball that Colton maybe wanted to take a chance on. With 1-2 count, Armani in the hole a little bit here. You can be a little bit more aggressive. I know you're chasing 3 runs here, but still run an inning.
Smith takes strike 3 called, and that will do it for the Gauchos here in the 7th. So another solid inning by Spencer Howard, and he is dialed in. A couple of strikeouts in the inning, and that will do it for the Gauchos here in the 7th. We go to the 8th. 7-4, Cal Poly trying to win the series today with a victory. Gauchos have 6 outs. Try to come back in this one. We'll be right back.
Gaucho fans.
Looking to experience the best of Santa Barbara? You know, get a local's take. Montecito Bank and Trust has over 40 years of local expertise, personalized service, and creative financial solutions, plus an unrivaled dedication to the communities we serve. With 10 locations across Santa Barbara and Ventura counties, see how we can be the perfect partner for you and your banking needs. Visit montecito.bank today.
Well, there's my Chico State math working for you, Bob. Spencer Howard struck out the side last inning, not a couple of strikeouts. So he now has 9 strikeouts in the game. Do you realize he has struck out 8 out of 9 batters from the 4th inning on? He had 1 strikeout in the first 3 innings. And here's Barry delivering to McKenna, the top of the order, and Alex swings and misses, nothing in 1. 7-4 Cal Poly here in the 8th.
Well, those 9.7 strikeouts per 9, he's at that mark right now. And
McKenna has singled and walked to get on base twice. He's also struck out and bounced into a fielder's choice.
He only needs 0.7 of a strikeout here in the next 2 innings to keep his average.
And this one hit weakly up along third. Barry's got it. He will throw to first in time to get McKenna out. Number 1, nice play by Shea.
It was a nice play. It scares me to death when a pitcher goes in there to barehand a tough ball like that. That ball had a little bounce, had a little spin on it. And you'd like to see your pitcher go with the glove, but he made a nice play on that. He's a good athlete, so still scares you as a coach, but nice play by Shea.
So here's Jack Kuzma for Cal Poly, batting for the first time in the game. Kuzma came in as a defensive replacement in the 6th inning. And he takes a strike here, no balls and 1 strike. Kuzma appearing in just his 11th game. He's had 5 at-bats this season and does not have a hit. A good pitch by Barry. That one just disappeared below the knees, nothing in 2.
You saw some flashes of his defensive ability yesterday.
And there's strike 3. Barry gets him out, number 2. Yeah, he made a nice play at shortstop, coming in for Marincons. Just a freshman.
Shortstop, number 4, Kyle Marincons.
Here is Kyle Marincons, the shortstop, batting with 2 outs here in the 8th, and the Gauchos hoping to get the bats going. Austin Bush will lead off next inning, which, if you're Cal Poly, is exactly where you want Austin batting against you.
That's exactly right. You just don't want him up with anything remotely close to a tying run or winning run, you know, where he's representing that. And even if there's 1 runner on, you could almost survive that, but they're gonna have the opportunity to try to get him out.
And Marincons just picked up his 3rd hit of the game. So he is just red hot in this series. Hit a 3-run homer yesterday. He's got 3 hits today.
First baseman, number 12, Michael.
Marincons just going the other way, Bob, as good hitters do.
Yeah, he came in hit 255, on the season, and he looks like Rod Carew up there this weekend.
He's had a good weekend. Here's Sanderson, who's looking for his first hit in the game.
We got to start coming up with some more recent.
Michael is 0 for 4 today, and this is a senior, but it is definitely an anomaly because Sanderson hitting .329 this season. You don't usually see a lot of 0-fers from Michael. Gaucho pitching has done a good job against him today. Here's the next pitch, and that's off the end of the bat down the right field line, foul, and it's 1-1. All right, a more recent one. Let's see.
Roofnet Odor.
There you go.
The heck kind of name is that?
He's with Pawtucket.
He's with
Oh,
Texas.
I got one for you, except for the power part of it. But there isn't anybody in Major League Baseball right now, in my opinion, Bob, that is hitting the ball better than Mike Trout.
Well, I could have pulled that one, but I was looking for a left-handed hitter.
Oh, left. Okay.
Yes, so I'm going to stick with Rufdet Odor. He's the second baseman for the Rangers.
Yes. I was kidding about the Pawtucket part. Here's the pitch, and looks like they're going to get Sanderson here as Colton Burns now called off by Armani Smith, and a good job by Shea Berry. So the Gauchos come to bat in the bottom of the 8th, needing to get to work. They trail 7-4, and Berry has done a nice job in relief here for UCSB. And somehow, some way, the Gauchos are going to try to figure out the talented right-hander Spencer Howard. This is the second consecutive game in this series, Bob, where Cal Poly's starter has at least gone into the 8th inning. Ullman yesterday started the 9th and didn't get an out. Bush hit a 2-run homer off of him. But 8 solid innings, and Howard's trying to follow suit here.
Yeah, I mean, starting pitching, we were always talking about how important it is. And Howard, you know, we said he's been their most consistent pitcher. And he's 6-1. He's got the second best ERA in the Big West. And he's a projected second, third round pick. So this is not surprising. But there's still 6 outs the Gauchos had to work with.
Absolutely.
And they got to do everything they can to get into that bullpen.
Well, the Gauchos are the second best hitting club in the Big West Conference average-wise. They lead the conference in home runs with now 47, and they're first in slugging percentage. So the Gaucho Bats can definitely do it. And it'll be Bush, who has doubled, walked, and homered in this game. But it bears repeating again, Bob, I think. The Gauchos scored 2 runs on 3 hits in the first inning. Over the next 6 innings, they have gotten a grand total of 2 hits off of Spencer Howard.
Well, we talked about how that first inning is the time to get him, and the Gauchos did get him. And the unfortunate part of that, other part of that statement is those guys sometimes settle in after that first inning or so. And that's exactly what Spencer Howard has done. He has settled in and has been just outstanding. And this allows him to another shot at Austin. He didn't like that last time, and so he can afford to pitch to him now because he's going to throw strikes. He's not going to pitch around him because he's going to make Austin hit.
And I doubt Austin is going to see a changeup. The pitch he hit out over the right center field fence. That was in the 5th. Bush with a big hack there. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Something about Austin's home runs, most of them, Bob, are so high. He is so strong. Not only can he hit it a long way, but he hits them so high.
Well, he's got that lift in his swing. I mean, that's what you want in your power hitters. Or no, what do they call it now? Launch angle. He's got good launch angle for those of you who are sabermetrics people.
2 balls and 2 strikes. 7-4 Cal Poly here in the bottom of the 8th. And Austin pops this foul down the right field line. This will drift out of play as you see the Gaucho bullpen. That is Stevie Ledesma down there. Ledesma has got great stuff. 4 pitches. He's got a very good cutter, good 4-seamer, changeup, slider. 2 balls and 2 strikes. And that was a change. Austin was on that, but just missed it. That one blooped out into left field, left center, and a good running catch by George. Out number 1. Josh came in last inning to pinch run and stays out there. And he just made a very good catch. They were playing Austin so deep. No doubles defense. That was even though that was hit high in the air, that was a long way for George to go.
Yeah, they were playing him in Nolita somewhere back there, and that was a long run.
Here's Cohen, who had an RBI single in the first. He's grounded out and struck out since, but that was a pitch Austin would like to have back. He was on that. And I think he knew that was coming, Bob, the way he held his hands back and was able to accelerate into it and not fooled by it. But it was in a good location for Howard, and he gets the out here, out number 1. Sammy takes down low, 2-0. Well, with the airport very close by here, UCSB, I love watching these private jets fly over, Bob, and I just think, wow, how cool would it be to be on one of those things? I mean,
Not as cool as it would be to own one.
good point. That's low, 3-0. So take us in the dugout, Bob. Spencer Howard has thrown the ball extremely well today. He's thrown a lot of pitches, though. Coming into this inning, is he talking to Larry Lee? Here's the pitch, and that's in there for a strike, 3-1. Is he talking to Larry Lee, Chow Fanning, Teddy Walker, saying, you know, I'm fine, guys, I'm fine. Let me go, because they want that complete game. He's got one this year, or is that not even figuring into anything? There's a ground ball right side. Sanderson on the backhand will go to Howard, out number 2.
Well, he might be saying that to the coaches, but they're just, doing what the players do to the coaches. They're looking at them, shaking their head, say, yeah, it's going in one ear, out the other. So the coaches can reciprocate what the players do to them in situations like this. They're evaluating the stuff they see. They're using their eyes and their history and what they work on and what they discuss and preach and all these types of things. They're putting all that into the mixer and making their own decision.
Here's Tommy, and he takes a strike on the outside corner. Jew had an RBI single in the first inning, and he's 1 for 3 today.
What you want is your pitcher coming in saying, I got this. You want your pitcher wanting it.
Right.
Now, you're not going to listen. You want that reassurance. You want your pitcher to compete. You want him to want to compete and want to get that complete game.
Good fastball there. Threw it by Tommy, 1 and 2. Well, the good news for Howard, Bob, is there's no one throwing down there, but I see a left-hander on the mound, but he's not throwing right now.
You have to have somebody up. You have to have somebody prepared. It's a 3-run ball game, So this isn't. They're not just sitting there watching. You're preparing for what could happen. And I had that as his 9th strikeout. So
all right. That's a great fastball. Freezes Tommy. And we go to the 9th here at Cesar Wasaka Stadium. 7-4, Cal Poly over UCSB.
Looking to experience the best of Santa Barbara? Get a local's take. Montecito Bank and Trust has over 40 years of local expertise, personalized service, and creative financial solutions, plus an unrivaled dedication to the communities we serve. With 10 locations across Santa Barbara and Ventura counties, see how we can be the perfect partner for you and your banking needs. Visit montecito.bank today.
So Shea Berry begins his 3rd inning of work for the Gauchos as we go to the 9th. 7-4, Cal Poly. 7 runs, 13 hits, 1 error for the Mustangs. 4 runs, 5 hits, and 2 errors for the Gauchos. Jerry Paul, Bob Bronsema with you. And Bob, you're right. That's I had Howard for 1 more strikeout than he has, so he's got 9 strikeouts.
Still needs that .7, and I don't think he's going to get it because I don't think Larry's going to. I don't think he's going to throw him out there for the 9th. He's finished strong. He's pitched great, but his pitch count I think is in the 115, 120 range. And his stuff says he's still got it, but I think you got to look at the kid's future and say I got a bullpen that's going to be able to get me out of this, and enough is enough.
So here's Nick Meyer, who's got 2 hits today for Cal Poly, and he chops this one foul past Larry Lee in the third base coaching box. No balls and 1 strike. 7 runs, as I mentioned, on 13 hits for Cal Poly. 4 runs on 5 hits for the Gauchos, but Gauchos have not done anything since the first inning, really, except for Austin Bush's 2-run homer. They have a total of 2 hits after the first inning over the next 7 innings. Berry is the 3rd pitcher used by UCSB today, behind Kyle Nelson and Kevin Chandler. And he spiked that one. That one actually not only was in front of home plate, that hit the grass in front of the dirt in front of home plate.
Yeah, you don't see too many catchers blocking the ball with the top of their head.
No.
But that was, I mean, he looked like he was trying to go Lionel Messi and kind of head that ball somewhere.
back post.
Yeah, that was a good effort by Dempsey.
There's a high fly ball to deep left field down the line. Billy Frederick back, and Frederick right in front of the fence makes the catch for out number 1. The ball started down the line with the wind blowing from left to right here. It blew back a little bit toward Billy, so that's out number 1.
Yeah, I thought that had a little bit of a chance. I don't know if the wind hindered it, but it was a good 3 to 5 feet short. Billy played that well.
Here's Elijah Skips, who's 1 out of 4 today with a base hit and run scored. And Barry's pitch, outside corner, fastball for a strike, 0-1. UCSB led 2-0 after the first. Cal Poly tied it with 2 in the 4th. Austin Bush hit a 2-run homer in the bottom of the 5th to give the Gauchos a 4-2 lead. Cal Poly tied it with 2 in the 6th and added 3 in the 7th for a 7-4 lead for the Mustangs.
The left-handers have had a great day. I think earlier in the day I said they had 3 left-handers in the lineup. They actually had 4 in the lineup, and they've been doing all the damage today for the most part. Meyer's done some things, as he has all weekend, and obviously Ogren,
who's on deck,
is the other guy that's been killing the Gauchos. But
Marin Cons has 3 hits today.
Skips has 1, and Kevin Morgan had 3.
They can't wait for him to leave town. Morgan has a 2-run homer. He's got an RBI double, and he's got a single. Yeah, an RBI single. He's knocked in 4 of the 7 runs.
And Barrick's got a knock in there, too.
That was a close pitch there. 2-2. Skips has a home run this year, but when you look at the way this man is built, you'd think he'd hit a lot more than 1. And he lines one to Tommy Jew in center field, and Tommy makes the catch for out number 2.
I agree with you. I would think that he's got a little more of a line drive swing than he does. Doesn't have a lot of lift in his swing, but he's a big fella, big strong fella.
Yeah. So with 2 outs here in the 9th, here is Scott Ogren. Ogren struck out in the 2nd, reached on an error and scored in the 4th, and then had an RBI double in the 6th and a 2-run double in the 7th. And Ogren takes a strike. No balls and 1 strike. Hear from Coach Andrew Checketts after the game, hoping to see his team rally in the bottom of the 9th. They need 3. The Gauchos do to tie. 0-1 from Barry. That's another close pitch at the knees there. Called a ball by Travis Katzenmeyer. 1-1. And the Mustangs have hit the ball very, very well so far over the first 2 games. They've pitched very well. They've played solid defense. They do have an error today that came in the 1st inning.
And that cost them a couple runs, but they've been pretty flawless since.
2 balls and 1 strike to Ogren, seeing Barry for the first time, and there's a good pitch on the outside corner for a strike. 2-2.
A little cutting action on that ball. Put it in a spot that Ogren could not hit. Ogren has been hitting the mistakes today. And he was part of that. He got on. The big play was the time he got on an error. He's been involved in a few big plays, don't get me wrong. But him getting on that error and then letting Morgan come up and tie the ball game kind of took some wind out of the Gauchos' sails, because they were cruising pretty good at that point.
2-2 pitch from Barry. Swung on and missed, and Shea does a nice job in relief for the Gauchos today. Now let's see if the Gauchos can rally in the 9th and make Shea a winner for the 2nd time this year, as he gets well-deserved high fives in the Gaucho dugout. We go to the bottom of the 9th. 7-4, Cal Poly, UCSB, scheduled to send up Muno, Corey, and Grover, 7, 8, and 9. And we'll have a new Cal Poly pitcher, Michael Clark. The closer is on. We'll give you Clark's numbers when we return right after this.
Looking to experience the best of Santa Barbara? You know, Get a local's take. Montecito Bank and Trust has over 40 years of local expertise, personalized service, and creative financial solutions, plus an unrivaled dedication to the communities we serve. With 10 locations across Santa Barbara and Ventura counties, see how we can be the perfect partner for you and your banking needs. Visit montecito.bank today.
Michael Clark, the new pitcher for Cal Poly, he's the closer. And Clark is very solid this season. 3-0, 2.42 ERA. He has 5 saves. Clark has pitched 22 and a third innings, struck out 12, walked 8, and opponents only hitting 169 against him.
Yeah, those are his conference stats. His overall stats are even a little bit better. He's 5-0 in conference with 9 saves overall. So it's pretty good. He's not overpowering. He's a ground ball guy, pitches to contact. So he's going to throw a lot of strikes.
Here's JJ. The Gauchos trail 7-4. Santa Barbara trying to rally to avoid going 7-13 in the conference and 22-29 overall. The Gauchos need 3 to tie it. 0 for 3 today. Tried to bunt his last time up and bunted it too close to Howard, the pitcher, who threw him out at first base. So Clark delivers a fastball in there for a strike. He's in the low 90s with his fastball. Got very good movement on it. And very good slider is what I'm told. No balls and 1 strike. And Muno swings and misses here, 0-2.
There's that cutting action underneath the hands of a left-handed hitter, and another guy that's tough to elevate on. He's gonna be down around the knees. You gotta be ready to hit.
Cal Poly's outfield very deep. 0-2 to Muno. There's the change. It bounces up there, 1-2. Michael Clark is a sophomore, so they have him for 1 more year.
Yep, Cardinal Newman High School.
That one just a little bit low, 2-2.
You need to leave the ball down against a guy like this, even though there's 2 strikes. That's a great pitch by Clark, and it's good discipline by JJ.
Yep. Well, Shea Berry threw a couple of pitches right in that spot last half inning and didn't get the call either. 2-2 pitch. Here it comes from Clark. And this one chopped to Ogren at second. Takes a high hop and goes off his glove. That maybe scored a base hit with the way that thing kangaroo hopped.
Well, it should, I think. That's the Caesar hop right there.
Yep.
You don't see as many of those now with, but that he rolled over that one and just had a lot of topspin on it.
So here's Kenny Corey.
That's the break the Gauchos need, let's hope.
See if they can capitalize on it.
And I'm surprised they're holding.
And they are with Santa. Here's Corey bouncing one to first, and that's a fair ball, and now they've got Muno hung up, and he'll be tagged out by Marincons, and that's a double play. That'll go 3-6 on the double play. And the Gauchos are down to their last out.
Well, that's why they held him, I guess. And I'll tell you what, the only thing JJ could have done was right away, he should have just gone back to the base. And because Sanderson had turned his back and he was going to tag the base, and he might not have identified the fact that, you know, he just thinking JJ's taking off. Jay didn't really have to take off there. He could have come back and slid into the base and been safe. Tough thing to do.
So with 2 outs, here's Grover, and he takes a strike, 0-1. But in that situation, Bob, isn't JJ the only base he can go to is
yes, but
second?
Yes, but as soon as the first baseman touches first base, it's now open for him to come back.
Gotcha.
So
okay, get right under him.
Exactly. All he has to do is be right. He had his back turned. When he steps on the base and he's turning to throw, that's when you slide back into first.
Gotcha.
That's
All right.
you have to be way heads up and on that. That's a tough play, and you almost never see it. But that was probably his only chance.
0-2 to Grover is outside, 1 and 2.
Those are the things you talk about, in practice. How this happens, and if it comes up, and hopefully one time a year somebody does that, and you look like a genius.
Clark wants another sign. He's got it from Meyer, and the 1-2 swung on and missed, and Meyer will throw to first to complete the inning and the game, and the Mustangs defeat the Gauchos 7-4. 7 runs, 13 hits, 1 error for Cal Poly. 4 runs, 6 hits, and 2 errors for UCSB. So Spencer Howard improves to 7-1 with the victory, as Andrew Checketts and Larry Lee will shake hands here.
Final score, UCSB 4, Cal Poly, St. Louis Obispo Mustangs.
They're talking about something here.
Thank you for attending today's ball game.
I don't think it's anything other than
No, yeah.
procedural stuff with senior day and things like that.
Against the Cal Poly Mustangs tomorrow at
Just making sure everyone's on the same page.
So tomorrow's game begins at noon, and it'll be senior day, and we'll all honor Billy Frederick, the only senior on the club. And the Gauchos will also honor some other players as well who are set to graduate, but they still have a year of eligibility left. But Coach Checketts believing that they probably are not going to be back for next season, so they are going to honor them tomorrow, which is a great gesture by Coach Checketts and the Gauchos. 7-4, the final. Bob, great job as always, and
Well, I got to start picking up the slack here a little bit, get us some W's. That's when I'm doing a good job, when I'm talking about Gaucho victories.
well, the Gauchos struggling now as they fall to 22-29 on the season. So that will mean that UCSB will not have a winning season this season. So tough one for the Gauchos, certainly, and we'll get set, Bob, to hear from Coach Andrew Checketts. So I will let you get to your responsibilities here in terms of facilities management. Thank you, my friend, and we'll do it again tomorrow at 11:45 in the morning, pregame.
Thank you very much. I'll be thinking about you.
Noon.
Hope things go
Well, thank you, Bob. There's the play by Nelly that really hurt when he threw it away with 2 outs, and then Kevin Morgan came up and hit a 2-run homer after that. So little
Big
things like
play.
that
Yep,
are
you're
big,
right.
are big things.
Because that was a momentum changer a little bit.
Here was the momentum changer.
And that was, yes. So you don't know, you don't know if Nelly's ticked at himself for doing that, and then he loses a little bit of concentration and makes a bad pitch. You never know about those types of things, but I know all the talk show hosts know all those answers. But
yeah, they have all the answers, don't they? All right, we'll get set for Coach Checketts. Thanks, Bob.
All right.
Thank you very much.
You bet.
So Coach Checketts will be joining us here coming up shortly, as there's Austin Bush's home run. Big time fly by Bush, his 17th of the season, 31st of his career here at UCSB. And at the time, it made it 4-2 Gauchos, but Cal Poly came from behind twice in this game. They trailed 2-0 and 4-2, and they come back to tie it in the 6th with 2 runs and 3 in the 7th to take the lead, and that made for the final 7-4. So we'll get set up in the other room. Stay tuned. Coach Checketts will be with us coming up here on the Montecito Bank & Trust pregame show.
guys were able to put yourselves in the advantageous position early in the game, but once again unable to hold the lead. Kind of speak to the late inning struggles once again and how this one got away from you.
You've seen the movie Groundhog's Day, right? I keep trying different stuff every day, and haven't figured out how to get out of the cycle of the reoccurring game. Unfortunately, I don't think that's what we were accustomed to in terms of Gaucho baseball the first 5 years that we were here, but this year that's become kind of a regular occurrence where we come out and we're on their starter and we've got the ability to put some pressure on them. We throw some zeros up on the mound. We give the game back to them, or the lead, or our lead. We give back to them. Their pitcher adjusts on the mound. We don't adjust offensively. After that, their guy's still in the game in the 8th. Our guy's done in the 5th. We're going to our bullpen. Kids are trying, but we're guessing on what we're going to get out of those guys and what we're going to get day to day, and I keep guessing wrong and bringing the wrong guy in first, and so I need to do a better job of guessing in those situations and bring in the guy that can get it stopped. But we've got momentum, and we're giving them pop flies, and we're giving them balls on the ground back to us that we throw away, and that stuff's hard to stomach. And then there are guys grinded out some at bats and had some good at bats when we made mistakes that were up. They hammered them pretty good, and so I thought it's hard to win baseball games when you just got to score 80 game to win, and that's right about where we've been at for the entire year. And it's again, the kids are trying. I don't think they're rolling over, but we don't have a lot of answers for the game right now on the mound piece of it. And I can understand the frustration of maybe the position players where they come out and jump on somebody and give us a lead and feel like they've got to extend and get to 10 for it to be safe. And that can put some pressure on those guys, and they get worn down on that, especially when we hand I wouldn't say we handed it to them, but we helped a little bit, and then they took it from us. We handed it to them, and they took it from us. And so, offensively, I can understand some of the frustration maybe of feeling a little helpless there when you land some early blows and feel like it's got to turn into 10 to end up getting rewarded at the end of the day.
You mentioned this, but Spencer ended up going 8 innings and threw 120 pitches. After that first inning, he only allowed 3 hits. What was he doing differently on the mound? How was he able to kind of keep your batters off balance after that first inning?
He was competed. Gave effort. He adjusted. He was able to separate the bad start and move on. He was aggressive in the strike zone. He's conditioned to go late and throw 120 innings. I thought his stuff was good at 120 pitches. He had a couple different breaking balls that he was able to land for a strike. He broke the curveball out more in the middle innings there. He was able to throw some breaking balls to our guys that were good. I thought he was strike one all day after early. I know he had a couple walks in there, a couple 4-pitch walks that got his pitch count up. If he doesn't do that, he might go CG on the day. But he also didn't panic and freak out when he gave up 4. He hung in there and continued to compete. I thought that's what it's supposed to look like when that's probably what he would consider not his A game, but there's a reason why he's 7-1 on the year, because he's got the ability to grind through a game like that and hang in there and still be in there at 120 pitches.
The top of the 4th inning, you guys had an opportunity to get out of the inning, and then Nelson throws the ball away to first base, and then the next batter, hits a 2-run home run. Is that play kind of indicative of what you guys have been going through, and how losing focus when the situation like that happened?
Yeah, Nelly will make that play 1,000 times in practice, and it's been repped a bunch, and lost his poise on that pitch, and then it'd be nice to be able to back that error up with a pitch that's down instead of backing that up. The errors and mistakes will happen. They're happening too frequently for us, but it'd be nice that when we make that error, if our response is to pick ourselves up and throw the ball down instead of losing our poise and elevating. And it seems like that has been I love Kyle Nelson, and he's an awesome kid. He's worked his rear end off for us and been a big part of our program for the last 3 years. But unfortunately, this year that seems like a recurring theme where we get a lead and then we stab ourselves in the foot and give up a home run right after that. Whether it's a leadoff walk or hit by pitch or an E1, it seems to be on replay for us, and we don't seem to be able to get off of a replay and be able to fast forward through that.
Austin Bush, he's on one of the greatest offensive tears in program history here, and he's able to hit another home run tonight. Can you speak to his performance and how he's seen the ball up to play, his approach?
It's tough to pitch you right now. You know, he's got so much power, and the weather's heated up a little bit, and he's on fire. But I mean, he's missed hitting balls and hitting them out of the ballpark and hitting them off the end. You know, I thought he was out front yesterday when he hit that home run and didn't hit it, and that's the kind of power he's got. Though, is he can hit a ball and hit it out of the ballpark, and since they changed the bats to BB cores, you just don't see that very often on the West Coast. Back in the day, when there was pre-BB core bats, you'd see guys hit balls and hit them out of the ballpark like that, but you just don't see that very often, except for a few rare occurrences like at Northridge or maybe where at BYU where there's really some elevation and the ball flies. But you know, he's strong to be able to hit it out sea level and hit it, and I even think he hit that one a little bit. It speaks to the strength, and you know, I think Armani's done a nice job of kind of extending some innings and giving him a chance to hit, and in some situations either getting hit by pitch or getting on base with 2 outs, and in situations where you got to pitch to him based on the score and there's nowhere to put him, or there's nowhere to put him. So yeah, he's been on fire. Even his strikeouts, he's taking good swings, and but he can't hit a grand slam every time he's up. We got to be able to get him stopped.
Coach, what about Nelson today? He looked like that backdoor slider wasn't as prominent a pitch as it's been a lot this year. Did you see that? Did you see other things where he just was missing or just didn't have the command of his pitches or the sharpness of them?
Yeah, I don't think we've had good stuff out of him all year. I mean, I can't think of a game where I felt like that's the old Kyle Nelson from a velocity, sharpness of the breaking ball. He's had some stints. I think early he had a couple games where he was able to at least get the slider down, but still not coming out of his hand like it did last year. Last year, his stuff was propped up a little bit more. He was able to throw sliders and even miss in the middle of the plate because they were sharp and late and coming out like a fastball. People were still hitting them, and right now, it's rolling out of his hand early. It's backdoor on accident, not on purpose. He's having a real hard time throwing it down, and when he does throw it down, he's telegraphing it, and it's not coming out of his hand like a fastball like it has in the past. I don't know what the fix is for him, but and we've been working on it, trying to get him to stay behind the baseball a little bit more, but he seems like he really wants to try and turn that thing to make it break, and it's, you know, the worse it is in the game, the harder he tries to turn on that thing, and the more it gets elevated and hung and comes out of his hand like a breaking ball instead of coming out like a fastball. So unfortunately, that's what his stuff's been like all year, and it hasn't been the sharp Nelly that we've been used to. The guy that went, 30, 25 scoreless innings is from his freshman to sophomore year, and the stuff just hasn't been there. And he's leaving pitches up with 2 strikes and laboring through innings, and lost the feel for his fastball today. And I thought, you know, we had some conversations in the dugout about being able to compete through that and not feel for it. You can see him feel for his pitches before, and I never remember seeing Kyle feel for pitches his first 2 years here. I mean, I think he was able to let those things fly. So, you know, part of it's the injury piece of it, where he was shut down for a long period of time and still hasn't been able to come back. And we just haven't been able, myself, we just haven't been able to sprinkle a magic dust on him and get him back to being himself.
One more. Has your mentality, I know you guys are trying to win every game you can, but has your mentality switched kind of developing some of these guys, or maybe looking forward to maybe next year with the pitching staff or any position players?
Yeah, I think there's a piece of it. Some of it's just coming naturally because we're struggling with some performance areas, and we're struggling to pitch deep into games on the mound. So those young guys are getting those young pitchers are getting outings. And maybe if we were more successful and our starting pitching was a little bit better at this point in the year, those guys would maybe not be getting outings at that time. So I think just based on what the scoreboard's doing to us, I think those guys are getting some experience. I'm not going to kid you and say that we don't look at those standings and know that we don't want to end up on the bottom of this pile. And we're trying to win every single game that goes out there. And so we're still playing. And I think out of respect to our older players that have been here and have grinded for us, they want to go out and play well. So we're going to keep putting our best lineup out there every single game, and what we think gives us our best chance to win every single game, regardless of whether we're out of the postseason or, which is no question about that part of it. But I think it's unfair to those kids that have been in our program and have competed for us for a number of years to sit them when they're still trying to win baseball games and improve where they're at in the standings. Yeah.
So a big thanks to Coach Checketts joining us after this ball game today. The Gauchos fall 7-4 to Cal Poly. The Mustangs, with 3 in the 7th, break a 4-4 tie and win it 7-4. Cal Poly improves to 25-27, 13-7 in the Big West Conference. Santa Barbara falls to 22-29, 7-13 in the Big West Conference. So that'll do it for the broadcast. We hope you enjoyed it. We certainly hope you can make it out to the ballpark tomorrow for Senior Day. It's not the Gauchos' final home game. They'll play USC on Tuesday here at 3 o'clock, but tomorrow it will be Senior Day. The Gauchos will honor Billy Frederick, their only senior, and they will honor others who are set to graduate and set to graduate next month, who still have a year of eligibility, as I've mentioned, but the Gauchos figuring that they probably will not be back, either be drafted or take their degrees and move on to the next chapter of their lives, and a nice gesture by UCSB to honor those who technically are not seniors. And one more time, tomorrow's game begins at noon because of this extravaganza, a big deal they're going to have at Harder Stadium, where they'll have a lot of music groups performing, and that begins at 2 o'clock, so they'll play the game tomorrow at noon instead of the originally scheduled time of 1 o'clock. Thank you to our great crew, Eddie Epperson, wonderful job directing, Trevor in the control room as well. Thank you to Diego and to Greg. We say hi to Colin. Colin, get well soon. Thank you to Grace as well, and our whole staff. What a wonderful job they do. And thank you, as always, to John McCutcheon, the athletic director here at UCSB, and Tom Hastings, deputy athletic director. 7-4. Cal Poly wins it, and we will talk to you tomorrow from Caesar-Wasaka Stadium at 11:45 with the pregame show. First pitch is at noon. So long, everybody.